His voice was hoarse. His voice was hoarse. His voice was filled with endless despair, as if he was suffering from soul-piercing pain. Did you hear that? Long Fei is already at his limits, and Tian Ba will soon attack him from the sky. Ha, you dog. You dare to fight against me? You overestimate yourself. As the zither spoke, it turned to leave. The other members of the cannon fodder battalion all looked at the void. When they heard the begging sound, their first thought was the same as the Guqin. They all thought that Long Fei was begging for mercy. I knew it would end up like this. Let's quickly escape, otherwise, when Tian Badao returns, we won't be able to escape even if we wanted to. No matter what, we still have to thank him. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had the chance to run away. Burn some paper for him today next year. The men of the cannon fodder battalion were in high spirits. They wanted to take advantage of this space to escape. However, right at that moment, an explosion sounded from the center of the sky and cut off their path. The entire warship broke into pieces, and the figure in the sky also appeared. There were indeed some people screaming in pain, but it was not Long Fei at all, but rather Tian Badao, whom they could not afford to lose in their hearts. At this moment, Tian Badao had already been beaten into a pig head. His facial features were twisted together and from afar, he looked like a sculpture without any facial features. What shocked them even more was that Tian Badao's entire right arm had been completely crippled. Half of the bones in his arm were exposed, and his entire body was immediately stepped on by Long Fei on the head. How could this be? Tian Badao lost. So powerful. So he's actually been pretending all this time. He's not ignorant and fearless, he's simply disdainful. Heavens, Tian Ba is able to tear apart us with his bare hands, and he is not Long Fei's match right now. That Long Fei, he. All of a sudden, the men of the cannon fodder battalion looked at each other in dismay. They had even forgotten to run away. As for Ji Yuqin, the moment the two figures were exposed, her face had already become ghastly pale. She turned around, intending to escape. Stop, did I let you go? You want to leave after being so arrogant in front of me? Where did this good thing come from? Long Fei's foot stomped onto the ground tyrannically. He looked towards the Guqin and said with killing intent. Long Fei, I was wrong, please forgive me this once. I swear, I will never go against you again. The zither said. Wrong? Sorry, if you just admit your mistakes, then what's the use of cultivating it? Long Fei's eyes were filled with disdain. Spare. Non-existent. In the Tianyun city, he had almost forced Yu Ru to death. This was already a form of hatred, and it wouldn't stop until she died. Long Fei, don't go too far. I've already admitted my wrongs, what else do you want? Don't forget, we are still in Tianyun city. Ji Yuqin clenched his teeth and said. Too much. If this is too much, then you should have died 1,000,000 times over already. Long Fei said, disapproving, and then suddenly kicked down. Tian Ba's body directly landed beside Ji Yuqin. Dong. Ji Yuqin's face turned pale. If it wasn't for the guards supporting her, she might have already fainted. It was too bloody. Tian Badao's entire body was severely injured. Even his bones had been shattered by the shock. Even his facial features were gone. Like a piece of dough, he collapsed onto the ground. Long Fei, enough. My Tianyun city is not one you can offend. What's more, the Jiyu family's background is not something you can imagine. This old man would advise you to stop your injuries in time and not seek your own death. The guard beside Ji Yuqin said sinisterly. Who do you think you are? Even your master can only beg for mercy in front of me, and you still dare to threaten me. Long Fei glared, releasing a burst of killing intent. Suddenly, the old man's face froze and beads of cold sweat dripped from his forehead. You. The old man forced himself to speak. He could not believe that not only was Long Fei's battle power extraordinary, his soul force was so strong as well. With the power of the 4th level of the ancient era, he was actually able to be intimidated by someone at the 7th level of the ancient era. If you want to die, you can stand out. I'll grant you that wish. Long Fei didn't even give her the slightest of face. To still want Long Fei to give face after being schemed against. Impossible. The reason why Long Fei did not kill him was not because of pity. It was not fear. Instead, he wanted to get news of Li Yuanba and the rest from Ji Yuqin. The old man was at a loss for words. Under the oppression of Long Fei's aura, he did not even have the courage to refute, and directly went silent. Ji Yuqin, where are my people now? Long Fei did not beat around the bush and directly asked. Right, Long Fei, you must be here to save them. Ha ha ha, that's good then. You better quickly let me go and kowtow and admit your wrongs. Perhaps I can give you a chance to see them once. Otherwise, I will make you regret it for the rest of your life. The fear on his face disappeared without a trace, as if he had grabbed onto Long Fei's scruples and started to do whatever he wanted. Hearing that, Long Fei's face turned cold, as a bad feeling filled his heart. So they're already in your hands. Long Fei's voice was cold and filled with killing intent. Guqin, the zither was confused and instantly stupefied. Long Fei, calm down. I was just joking. I didn't catch them at all. They're still safe. Right, Tian Bidao's elder brother has already gone to take action. You can go save them now. When the zither saw that the wind had turned, it hurriedly kicked the blame onto Tian Bidao. Tian Bidao wiggled wildly when he heard this. However, all the bones in his body were shattered. He was unable to say anything even if he wanted to. But Long Fei still did not say a single word. Ice-cold killing intent continuously emanated from his body, enveloping Ji Yuqin and the other two inside. No matter who you are, from the moment you set your eyes on my woman, everything has been decided. You all. We must die. Long Fei said indifferently, as the gigantic killing weapon slowly appeared in his hand. Whiz. At this moment, the scarlet light on the killing weapon shot into the sky, a cold light exploding. Just like the idea in Long Fei's heart right now. There was only one word. Kill. Swish. With a flip of his hand, Long Fei chopped off Tian Bai's head with his long blade. Tian Bidao didn't even have a chance to struggle before he completely lost his life. Ding. Congratulations player Ling Fei for killing Tian Bidao. Obtained 40,000 experience, 40,000 holy source points, 1 striking value. Ding. Congratulations to the players for obtaining the power of the warrior. Ding. Congratulations to the players for obtaining the blood of the warrior. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining Berserk Warrior's heart. The system exploded continuously, but Long Fei was in no mood to care. In his heart, he only wanted to erase the zither before him, otherwise, the hostility in his heart would never be quenched. Ji Yuqin was already scared silly by Long Fei, and both of his legs were trembling. Soon after, a fishy stench emanated from him. He was scared shitless. Long Fei. Don't kill me, I swear I will never go against you again. Also, killing me would not benefit you at all. My aunt is the imperial concubine. If you kill me, you will offend the Sky Empire. At that time, there will be no place for you in the entire world. Let me go, please let me go. The zither kept begging for mercy, not wanting any more dignity. In the face of life and death, dignity was nothing. Sky Empire? Haha, so what if it's the Sky Empire? Today, you must die. No one can help you. Long Fei's voice dejectedly fell. Long Fei's voice dejectedly fell. He was like a god of death, meticulous and without a trace of emotion. The reason for his glance was because the Grim Reaper looked back. The movement of a saber light was equivalent to harvesting the harvest of death. No, Long Fei, you absolutely cannot be like this. You have already killed Tian Bai, but the Tian clan is the Berserker warrior clan. Their blood vein are linked, so if you kill him, his brother will definitely come over soon. Only I can save you. If you kill me, there's no hope at all. The zither kept talking, calling out its uses. But all these, to Long Fei, were just rubbish. Long Fei never asked about background when he killed people. Could the Quang warrior be more powerful than the Shen nationality? The chattering is so King annoying. Your father's principle is, if you can do it, don't beat around the bush. Just like what you said, Laozi can let you go. Long Fei sneered. He took 1,000 steps, and the big killing tool continued with its previous mission. With one strike, it directly split the Guqin from the middle. Next, it's your turn. Long Fei's eyes turned and without hesitation, he slashed his blade over. But the old man beside Jiu Qin was at least at the 7th level of the super great complete realm, so he was forced to retreat the moment Long Fei made his move. Kid, just you wait. You killed young Master Qin and even killed the people of the Tian clan. Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, he won't be able to save you. The old man said as he turned around to flee. Want to leave? If you have the guts, just say so. If you don't have the guts, then fight. Hand of Chaos, come back here. Long Fei's eyes darkened as he instantly executed Hand of Chaos. Boop. A pair of large hands reached into the void, catching the fleeing old man in front of them. At this moment, he, who had already escaped, had a smile plastered on his face. When she opened her eyes, she saw a pair of cold eyes from Long Fei. No, that's impossible. The old man crazily shouted as he struggled with all his might. Immobilize. Inscription power. Murderous weapon. Slash. Long Fei used all of his strength in an instant, not giving the old man the chance to struggle. Goo! Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Zither. You have received 1 million experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining the Heavenly Phoenix Jade Pendant. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Jiu family's internal guard. You have obtained 380,000 experience points, 30,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Whoosh. Panted heavily as he killed 3 people. This directly caused Long Fei's holy source to be exhausted. Whether it was the body-securing technique or the power of inscription, both consumed a great deal of energy. No, I'm too weak right now. I have to think of a way to quickly retreat, otherwise, if what the Guqin said is true, then I'm afraid that we will meet an even stronger enemy. Long Fei thought. Right now, in Tianyun City, there were strong enemies everywhere. Especially after he killed Tian Ba and Jiu Qin, it made the battle between him, Jiu Xing, and some of the other berserker warrior tribes even more tenacious. If his opponent had some sort of special method that allowed him to sense everything that was happening here, then it would most likely provoke a fierce battle. Thinking about it, Long Fei turned around. Thoughtless, let's go. Long Fei said indifferently. Li Wuxin was still in shock. Long Fei's power had once again changed his view of the world. For the first time, he felt admiration for Long Fei. You're really awesome. Li Wuxin said with a hint of worship in his voice. Long Fei was overjoyed as he grinned. He knew that he was 1 step closer to capturing Li Wuxin. As for the men from the cannon fodder camp, Long Fei could not be bothered with them. He didn't even have the interest to kill them. He didn't have enough experience. In fact, he hadn't even received a system prompt when he killed hundreds of players. In other words, with the increase of Long Fei's level, these existences comparable to his cultivation level would no longer be able to give him any experience. However, just at this moment, 2 killing intents broke through the air and directly descended on them. Long Fei's footsteps paused, and his eyes sunk. He came so fast. Long Fei was extremely depressed. The worst situation had finally happened. Long Fei, let me do it this time. I'll block them for a while. Quickly leave. Li Wuxin said firmly. Impossible. I, Long Fei, have never let go of my brother's habit. Long Fei shook his head and said. At the same time, a look of determination appeared in his eyes. At most, he would just go all out, and even if he used the God of Heaven madman, he wouldn't abandon Li Wuxin. Long Fei, you can't leave. You were the one who killed him. If you leave, what will we do? Suddenly, right at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded from within the cannon fodder camp. Long Fei was startled as he looked at the other party with an extremely ice-cold gaze. What did you say? Long Fei asked. I said you can't just leave like this. Now that the entire space has been sealed off by killing intent, it's obvious that it's coming for you. You were the one who killed the person, so you absolutely cannot leave. Otherwise, how are we going to account for it when the time comes? The man gritted his teeth as he spoke, but after he finished, he realized it was silent behind him. No one dared to refute him. Is everyone right? From start to finish, we never thought about escaping, as all of this was done by Long Fei himself. Now that he killed someone and wanted to leave, how could he do that? Why should we bear the consequences if he kills them? The man continued, trying to stir up the crowd. Sure enough, after his voice fell, a few voices from the crowd appeared. That's right, Long Fei. Since you're so powerful, you should continue fighting. We are all ordinary people. We still need to live. I beg of you, don't implicate us. All sorts of different voices appeared one after another. Their arguments were all different, but their meanings were the same. That is, they want to live. In other words, Long Fei had to die. Ha! Long Fei sneered. Humans were shameless, and they were unrivaled in the world. For these people who had buried their faces in the ground and had no dignity left, they would not cherish even if they were given a chance to live. You all. You bunch of ungrateful people. If not for Long Fei, how could you have your freedom now? Long Fei gave you all a free body, and gave you all a chance to live. Not only are you not grateful, you instead want Long Fei to die right now. You guys are worse than pigs and dogs. Li Wuxin was flustered and exasperated as he cursed loudly. Temph, Li Wuxin, what are you pretending to be a good person for? That's right, Long Fei, you can't leave anyways. Since you can fight like this, then let's have another fight. Someone in the crowd continued to speak. As for Long Fei, there was no longer any expression on his face. In the next moment, it transformed into a vicious and decisive strike. That was because, as of this moment, killing intent had reached him. My son. The white of the fish gradually emerged, and the dawn approached. The white of the fish gradually emerged, and the dawn approached. This sound was filled with endless sorrow and grief. The heaven and earth seemed to be reversed, and the sky actually began to darken rapidly. Darkness came, darkness came. Hoo. It was as if his killing intent was mixed into the darkness, shuttling back and forth between the darkness. It's over, it's the Tianyun City's city lord. This is his ace attack, the curtain of the dark sky. This time it's really over. Long Fei killed his son, Tianyun City Lord will definitely kill crazily. This is his sole son from the 3 bloodlines. Hurry up and retreat, or else we won't even know how we died. The Tianyun City Lord's power was monstrous. Even within the Sky Empire, he was ranked highly. His name was infamous, and once he showed his power, they were immediately scared out of their wits. Long Fei's heart also tensed up. However, this emotion only lasted for a moment before vanishing in the blink of an eye. Replacing it was a look of ecstasy. Too strong, too strong. This kind of strength was not only aimed at the powerful aura, but also at the golden lights that broke through the darkness one after another. Too dazzling. Last time in Tianyun City, Jiyu Xingdao did not make a move and did not expose the boss's light. This time, because of the death of the Zither, it had revealed the boss stats. Furthermore, it was extremely powerful, so powerful that Long Fei was dazzled by the light. I didn't expect it to be a big boss. Long Fei laughed, his smile was filled with anticipation, and he couldn't even hold back his saliva. You still have the mood to smile. Li Wuyi was extremely anxious, thinking about how to let Long Fei escape, but Long Fei seemed to have gone dumb and did not make a move. Long Fei glanced at Li Wuxin and said, "You can just retreat to the side later. Just leave him to me." If Long Fei did not explain, he could not tell him that killing the boss was his lifelong dream, right? Thus, he did not waste any more time on nonsense. This won't do. With your current condition, you aren't suitable for battle at all. Hurry up and leave. Li Wuxin shook his head and rejected Long Fei's suggestion. Don't worry, He's just a Tianyun city lord. He's done for. Long Fei said in disdain. Long Fei showed a relaxed and casual expression as he looked towards the sky and waited quietly. The men from the cannon fodder battalion had already scattered and fled in all directions. However, just as their figures touched the void, they were immediately reflected back. It was as if this place had been sealed off and there was no way out. The space has already been sealed. Long Fei, it's all Long Fei's fault. If not for him, we would have long since left our status as cannon fodder battalions. When the Tianyun city lord comes, we will immediately surrender. Maybe the Tianyun city lord will give us a chance to live. There was no hope for them to escape, as all of their faces were filled with anxiety, and they looked at Long Fei with ill intent. They believed that Long Fei killing Jiyu Qin was the reason for the disaster today. If not for Long Fei, he would have fought with all his might. They were still cannon fodder that had been stored on the warship, like cattle waiting to be slaughtered. With regards to these voices, Long Fei completely ignored them. In front of the boss, everything was fake. It was like a lobster right in front of one's face. Who would care about a few shrimps whispering disgusting words into one's ear? Long Fei did not care, but Li Wuxin could no longer tolerate it. You all are really too shameless. If not for Long Fei, where would you be right now? If not for Long Fei, what kind of fate would await you too? Now, if you all don't say that you are united, you will all advance and retreat together and you will all be thinking of selling out Long Fei. You are all scum. Li Wuxin said angrily. With every word he said, his body trembled. From the looks of it, his rage had already reached its peak. The group of men from the cannon fodder battalion were so embarrassed that their faces turned red. Even if they did something shameless, they would definitely not want to be exposed. What's more, they were already on the verge of death, so they wouldn't care. Mph, Li Wuxin, what are you pretending to be a good person for? Go and die if you dare. You go and say that you killed them. You go and take responsibility for everything. Some people said that they no longer had any sense of shame. In order to survive, they had already decided not to humiliate themselves. Li Wuxin was surprised for a moment, then immediately revealed a joyous look in his eyes. Right, I can take all the responsibility on myself. This way, Long Fei will no longer have to die. When Long Fei, who was just about to go all out, heard this sentence, he was instantly rendered speechless. Is this really the inheritance of the extermination emperor? Shouldn't you look down on us and use a single move to destroy us? So kind. Are you serious? Long Fei looked at Li Wuxin. He had an illusion that something was wrong with the system. Right at this moment, a black curtain of light completely descended. It was as if it covered the void of primal chaos, and darkness engulfed everything. My son. Who was it? Who killed my son? In the endless darkness, a voice exploded. Shortly after, in the darkness, a purple robe appeared and whistled by. Shua shua shua. The purple light was like a blade, cutting through the urgency in everyone's hearts. Everyone's eyes were fixated on this purple color. Long Fei was calm and his eyes flashed with a bright light. He was different from other people. With the system around, all he could see was golden light. Too dazzling. Than the previous undead lord. It's you. Jiyu Xingdao landed beside the corpse of the Guqin, which had already turned into a pile of mud. The rage in his eyes was about to erupt. When he saw Long Fei again, his killing intent rose to its highest point. Yes, that's me. As I said before, this meeting is the time for him to repay his sins. Long Fei said casually. Ah, little bastard, you killed my son, yet you still dare to be so arrogant. If I don't tear your body into 10,000 pieces today, I, Jiyu Xingdao, will simply commit suicide. The purple mist around Jiyu Xingdao rose and gradually became denser. Even the golden light emitted by the boss was overshadowed by it. It was extremely terrifying. A hint of caution flashed past Long Fei's eyes as well. The boss was very strong, especially now that he had a tendency to mutate. He's so strong yet he wants to mutate. If he were to break through to the supreme great complete realm, that would be King awesome. Long Fei's eyes flashed, and said, there's no need for that. You won't have a chance. Because I will personally kill you, Long Fei said as the idea moved. Immortal body, absolute super armor, activate. Facing such a strong boss, Long Fei did not have much time to hesitate, and directly chose his strongest move. Under normal circumstances, Long Fei would not have a second choice when facing the boss. There was no reason to do it. No matter the cost, it was going to explode. At this moment, Jiyu Xingdao's body had also completely changed. The rich purple color gradually changed and he was now dressed in black. Under the black robe, the aura on Jiyu Xingdao became even more tyrannical. It was as though every breath brought with it the power to kill. Brat, you are too arrogant. Even if the entire unknown region turns upside down today, this old man will still kill you. The black-clothed ancient cultivator who was in the form of a demon king coldly spoke. Black filled the air, and his killing intent surged recklessly. Black filled the air, and his killing intent surged recklessly. Under the void, there was no longer a second color. Even the purple color on Jiyu Xingdao's body had disappeared and turned black. The entire space was like a mass of black gas that was spreading, surging violently. Ah, so terrifying. Is this hell on earth? To actually be able to reverse it even in the sky. No, I feel like I'm going to die. I can't even raise my cultivation, and my strength has already been released by the seal. In this kind of situation, who else could be a match for Tianyun City's master? It's all Long Fei's fault. Darned Long Fei, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. In the cannon fodder camp, a huge amount of resentment was released. All of them were complaining about Long Fei's words. They were afraid of death, so everything was oriented in the direction of the possibility of survival. They did not want to miss this chance. At this time, there was still a feeling of hope, hoping that Long Fei would be killed by the ancient Tao as soon as possible. That way, no one would make things difficult for them anymore. Whiz. The black gas engulfed the area and turned into a fist in the endless darkness. Boom. This punch seemed to have come from nowhere as it landed on Long Fei's abdomen. Puff. Long Fei's body instantly lost control and flew out. Boom. 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 After smashing apart who knows how many towering ancient trees in a row, Long Fei's figure finally stopped. Ha ha ha, with just this bit of ability, you still want to kill me? In this darkness, I am the only ruler of the world. Even the Lord of the Primal Chaos cannot interfere. Long Fei, do you think you can survive without the protection of the Lord of Primal Chaos? If you kill my son, even if the Lord of Chaos comes, he won't be able to save you. In the darkness, the voice of the Tianyun City Lord rumbled in his ears like thunder. Puff puff. Long Fei spat out another mouthful of blood, the sweet taste still constantly appearing in his throat. Too strong. He had already reached the peak of the ancient Tao. The degree of peak of perfection, even undead Lord cannot compare to it. Furthermore, after the mutation, it was impossible to estimate how powerful the other party actually was. But what was certain was that if Long Fei had not activated his immortal's physique in advance, his opponent's punch would have shattered his flesh. I can't be passive. I have to take the initiative. Long Fei lowered his head and was about to release a skill. But right at this moment, Long Fei still hadn't spoke. Another black shadow descended, heavily smashing Long Fei out. You want to use your power, right? Ha ha ha, you think I don't know your tricks? I have to say, the method you used to kill that old thing from the Zhao family really made me greedy. But sadly, do you think that no one knows about your power? The people from the divine space are currently in my city lord's mansion. Aren't you relying on your pubes' power? Then let this old man destroy your pubes. Let's see how you will continue to use this power. The black-robed ancient path let out a berserk howl, and an earth-shattering change in its aura occurred. And at this time, Long Fei had also fallen into a state of madness. He didn't have time to activate his Empyrean god insanity. He was interrupted by Jiyu Xingdao's crazy attacks, again and again and again. Minutes and seconds passed. In the midst of the black aura, there was only the sound of constant bombardment. Other sounds could not be heard at all. Long Fei. I'm afraid he's already been beaten to death. Definitely, this kind of power, who can endure it? Tianyun City Lord is indeed worthy of being a veteran expert, he's too awesome. Fortunately, their power isn't directed at us. Otherwise, they would have died long ago. For 3 minutes, the entire dark space was filled with the sound of collisions. Li Wuxin was burning with anxiety, but there was nothing he could do. In this dark space, he couldn't even raise his cultivation. Long Fei, don't die. If you can endure this tribulation, you will be my boss from now on. Li Wuxin roared, encouraging Long Fei. At this moment, he felt an indescribable sense of loss, as if someone was about to lose their life. This feeling of loss made him feel extreme pain. What he did not know was that at this time, Long Fei had indeed already fallen into an abnormally painful state. Even if it was an immortal body, it was still an absolute body. After receiving so many attacks, his body was already on the verge of collapse. This was because absolute domination prevented physical attacks, but other than the brutality of one punch, there was also the unparalleled power of the arcane skill hidden in the dark. That was the reason for the damage. Ding! Absolute super armor has received the highest amount of damage. It will automatically release berserk power the next time it is attacked. Ding! Host's body is too weak. You won't be able to withstand another attack. Ding! Ask host, would you like to release it? At this moment, the system kept beeping out notifications. Berserk energy was the energy attribute of the absolute body. It absorbed all the isolated injuries and repelled them. Furthermore, the more severe the damage, the more explosive the power would be. Release. Long Fei said firmly. At this moment, he had no other choice. Furthermore, up till now, Long Fei's heart was already filled with boundless rage. It was the first time in history that he had been completely suppressed. Even though he had a killing technique, he could not release it. This feeling was like kicking and choking. At this moment, the darkness dissipated and a black curtain, as if receding from the world, finally scattered the light from the sky. And everything had been exposed. Hiss. Instantly, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Broken walls and ruins, broken mountains, and shattered rocks. It was as if the world had experienced a natural disaster, and all existence was no longer complete. And in the distance, Long Fei himself was in an even more miserable state. Dead, he really is dead. If you're injured like this and still don't die, then I'll eat shit in front of you. I hope that you can calm the anger of the Tianyun City Lord. Everyone whispered to each other, completely ignoring Long Fei. In their eyes, it was impossible for them to survive in this kind of state. Only Li Wuxin was rushing forward like a madman. Impossible, it won't die, it definitely won't die. You said you wanted to be my boss, how can you just die like that? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Li Wuxin madly dashed over. However, when they got closer, they felt that they were in a bad mood. With a plop, he kneeled before Zhongxian. The Long Fei in front of him had long since lost his human form, and was completely smashed into a human-shaped mass of flesh. His flesh and blood were all intertwined together, and even his bones could be seen with the naked eye. Heh, this fool. He still dares to maintain Long Fei's relationship at this time, he is truly a self-torturer. This is perfect. With someone attracting the attention of the Tianyun City Lord, we will be even safer. Ha ha ha. This time we can finally avoid danger. The men of the cannon fodder battalion completely relaxed. Looking at the black-robed Jiyu Xingdao, they buried their heads deep into their bones. As expected, Jiyu Xingdao originally thought that Long Fei had died and was preparing to leave as well. But after seeing Li Wuxin fly over, the baleful aura appeared once again. Very good, since there are still people related to you, then let's go and die. Rumble, rumble, rumble. With a single step, Jiyu Xingdao traveled 3,000 meters and directly appeared in the air above Long Fei. Then, he threw out a punch. However, just as the fist was about to land on Li Wuxin, a sudden change occurred. Long Fei, who had already turned into a lump of flesh and blood, instantly underwent a transformation, and with a speed that could be seen with the naked eye, he recovered his body. Jiyu Xingdao, your father has been waiting a long time for this punch of yours. I've been waiting for you for a long time. I've been waiting for you for a long time. It was just 5 simple words, but they became a topic of discussion in this space. Especially in this kind of situation, everyone already thought that Long Fei was dead. And yet, this berserk voice appeared. He's still not dead. Impossible, impossible. What did I go through? Who the hell is he? Heavens, he didn't die? The exclamations continued without end. However, the culprit who was shocked by the crime was still Ji Yuxing. Ji Yuxingdao's expression instantly became dark and cold as his killing intent exploded out of him in the blink of an eye. The stronger his killing intent was, the more powerful the punch would be. But what he did not know was that this was the outcome Long Fei was waiting for. Level +1, use. Berserk power, activate. Long Fei's voice was clear and swift without the slightest hesitation. Long Fei knew that once he erupted, he had to link them together and take them all away. Otherwise, even if he was a heavenly god maniac, if he couldn't kill Ji Yuxingdao with a single slash, he could cause his dark curtain to descend once again and then suffer the pain once more. Therefore, Long Fei had been waiting. He was waiting for this moment, for Ji Yuxingdao to make a move again and use his trump card. Boop. Boom. As Long Fei's voice fell, all of the injuries on his body abruptly recovered, without the slightest hint of injury. Not only that, the aura emanating from his body had also become a bit stronger. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The current level is Ancient Era's Almighty Level 5. Experience, 0300 000 inch. Long Fei leveled up one more level, although Long Fei was also extremely reluctant to do so. However, when it was broken, it would be broken. The trump card was used to slap the face and kill the boss. Long Fei was not a miser. As long as he was still alive, he would have everything. This was because he had the system. Bastard, did you have a good beating? I said that I will kill you, but today, I will definitely kill you. Long Fei held onto his killing weapon, the coldness in his eyes raging. The coquettish actions of Ji Yuxingdao just now made Long Fei feel abnormally sullen in his heart. Basically, he didn't have any strength to fight back. Unhappy. Extreme displeasure. Therefore, at this moment, Long Fei did not hesitate to use any means. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to explode out the ancient path. At this moment, Ji Yuxingdao's fist finally landed. Brat, it seems that your power is quite special. Since that's the case, I'll break you apart once again. I'll have to see whether you die or not. Ji Yuxing stood in the air. He gathered the strength in his hand and was about to attack again. However, his movements had only just begun, and he had already stopped. Because his previous punch, the moment it neared Long Fei, immediately stopped. Do you still want to fight? It's too late. Old thing, today, I'll let you have a taste of what is called berserk power. Berserk power, release it. Long Fei said again. At this moment, Long Fei was already going a little crazy. What happened just now was too much of a pain, so he could only release it like crazy. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. An equally domineering force was released from Long Fei's body. This power was almost equivalent to the sum of the powers he had endured. In an instant, it filled the entire area. No, that's impossible. Ji Yuxingdao's expression suddenly changed, becoming completely devoid of blood. He was too familiar with this kind of power, it was his own power. However, this level of power far exceeded his own. Not to mention defending against it, even if he faced it, he wouldn't dare to do so on his path to the ancient Tao. No, that's not possible. This is the power of my heavenly emperor technique. How could you possibly know how to use it? Ji Yuxingdao could not believe his eyes as he crazily retreated. But because he was fast, his berserk energy was even faster. In just a split second, it surged forward, completely submerging Ji Yuxingdao's figure within it. In an instant, a huge rumbling sound directly sank the earth, as if an abyss was being created. Soon after, the rumbling sounds dissipated, and a deep pit about 3,000 feet deep appeared before everyone. Silence, a deathly silence. No one dared to speak. Especially those who had opened their mouths to obstruct Long Fei and were ungrateful. Their intestines had already turned green from regret. All of their eyes were filled with panic, afraid that Long Fei would take revenge. Long Fei's line of sight was still fixated at the bottom of the abyss. He knew that Jiyu Xingdao wasn't dead yet. Up until now, the system had yet to reveal any signs of death. This also meant that the ancient Tao of nature wasn't dead at all. It really is a big boss. Incredible. It seems like this time, we'll definitely get something out of it. As Long Fei thought to himself, he immediately used his deadly weapon. God of Heaven Madman, activate. Ding. God Berserk has locked onto us. The system appeared. It was also at this moment that from the bottom of the deep pit that was thousands of feet deep, streams of blood-red light shot out. 1, 2, 3, 10 million. In just a few breaths, the entire world was dyed with blood. The entire space had turned blood-red. Ha 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 ha, boy, I really want to thank you. I was lucky enough to break through to the top level of the Heavenly Emperor technique. Kid, let's see who will kill who this time. Ha ha. Laughter came out from within it. It carried an unspeakable arrogance as it spread throughout the world. At this time, Long Fei was also stunned. Immediately after, a wisp of a smile appeared on his face. The ancient path had become stronger. This meant that the boss's level had risen again. Ha ha, upgraded? Very good, old bastard. I would really like to say that you really have endless potential. You have godly assistance in this matter. At least, this time, I have not wasted so many cards in vain. God of Heaven Madman, kill. Long Fei also laughed crazily. Now that he had leveled up, the killing powers of the God of Heaven fanatics would level up as well. In other words, the current Long Fei was using Heavenly God Frenzy. So long as he did not encounter powerhouse who had a cultivation level above super perfection, he could kill them instantly. Was not even the least bit afraid when it came to the current 2 degrees of mutation in the ancient elemental Tao. Boom. As the blade fell, the bloody light that filled the sky was directly split by Long Fei from the middle. It was as though the sky was being separated from the world. It was incomparably domineering. Whiz. At this moment, Jiyu Xingdao had also rushed out of the abyss. His black clothes had also disappeared, turning into red clothes. Purple clothes, black clothes, red clothes. 3 changes in a row. At this moment, he was in an extremely strong state. The corner of his mouth flashed with disdain. Not bad, you have some skill, but you're actually able to cut apart my blood-colored sky curtain. But even so, what can you do about it? If you want me to stay safe and sound, you will definitely die. I hope you can understand this logic. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiyu Xingdao moved his red clothes and his robes made a loud noise. In an instant, the veins on his forehead bulged as he brazenly attacked. The red dress moved, and the sky condensed once again. The red dress moved, and the sky condensed once again. Just like Long Fei's first slash, a white slash. Seeing this scene, even Long Fei's heart shivered. Impossible, his current aura is still at the supreme great complete realm. He has never broken through. It's definitely impossible for him to resist my strength. Long Fei's heart sank. Did not believe that Jiyu Xingdao was able to break the power of the system. Thinking about it, Long Fei moved his hand, second blade, chop. Long Fei bellowed, the great killing weapon in his hand slashed horizontally across the sky, and another blade slashed out. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The blood screen was sliced open again. Not only that, at this moment, Jiyu Xingdao's aura also weakened slightly. Ha ha ha, I thought you weren't going to die. So that's all it is. Long Fei laughed out loud. Brat, if you continue, I don't believe that your strength won't run out. Jiyu Xingdao let out a loud roar as his entire body turned blood red. He looked like a demon king. You're right, if you don't die, then this blade of mine will never be finished. Long Fei replied casually. Next, the third slash. Bell. With this slash, the damage to his strength increased again. Long Fei felt that this power was something that even the undead lordess could kill with a single slash. Boom. The blood-red color of the entire world was directly shattered by this strike. Even Jiyu Xingdao himself was sent flying backwards. At the same time, blood veins appeared on his body. 300 million. Ah, boy, I will kill you. I do not believe that you can still use such a violent power. Jiyu Xingdao was infuriated. Right now, his strength after his mutation had been dispersed by Long Fei's 3 slashes. He was already injured. Are you hurt? However, you are right, this is a knife that I can cut. Long Fei's eyes flashed. At the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Jiyu Xingdao was injured, it proved that the rules of the system were unbreakable. In other words, under the power of the heavenly god fanatics, Jiyu Xingdao would undoubtedly die as well. There was no second result. After slashing 3 times, Long Fei had no intention to stop. 300 million was a lot of blood. Even with a saber and a saber, the effect couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Jiyu Xingdao simply couldn't feel the pain at all. Thinking about how Jiyu Xingdao had blown up violently just now, Long Fei was immediately enraged in his heart. Therefore, Long Fei wanted to beat him up at all cost. It was impossible to not take revenge. Avenge every night. If I can kill you, I definitely can't let you get injured. To be able to make you feel so much pain that you wish you were dead, I definitely won't let you die so easily. These 3 cuts did not disappoint Long Fei and all landed on Jiyu Xingdao's body, causing Jiyu Xingdao's blood to flow down slowly at a speed visible to the naked eye. One slash was more vicious than another. After 3 slashes, his HP fell to 120 million. The first slash cost 50 million, the second slash cost 60 million, and the third slash cost 70 million. At this moment, Jiyu Xingdao's aura had completely disappeared without a trace. He thought that after his cultivation technique broke through, he would be able to roam unhindered in the world. But as soon as he came out, he was immediately ruthlessly slashed by Long Fei. At this moment, he could already feel the threat of death. He was scared. He was really scared. Long Fei's power did not seem to have an end point. The damage of the saber was even greater than that of the saber. Long Fei. This old man advises you to stop at once. Since you allowed me to break through, I can let this matter slide. This old man can even pave the way for you so that you will know more about the strength of the participants in the qualification battles. Jiyu Xingdao said in a deep voice. He admitted defeat. But Long Fei had a cold smile on his face. You admitted defeat? Haha, Jiyu Xing said. Aren't you awesome? I killed your son. Long Fei ridiculed. As long as I'm alive, I can have as many sons as I want. This old one's sister is the Zhen Fei of the Heavenly Empire. If you cooperate with this old man, I guarantee that you will smoothly obtain the final victory of the God of Boundary. Jiyu Xingdao said even though he was extremely depressed. But he had to say it like this, it was completely like begging for forgiveness in front of Long Fei, showing off his worth in exchange for a chance to live. The corner of Long Fei's mouth moved, and let out a cold laugh, but he did not immediately state his stance. At this moment, on the ground, the men of the Cannon Fodder Battalion and Li Wuxin were completely dumbfounded. The reversal in front of them had completely exceeded their expectations. Long Fei. Li Wuxin muttered to himself. His eyes were filled with boundless excitement as he clenched his fists tightly. Those men of the Cannon Fodder Battalion had long gone pale. It was too shocking. Too dazzling. However, they could not get excited at all. The stronger Long Fei got, the more bitter they felt in their hearts. What should I do? How could he be so strong? It's over, it's all because of you. If you didn't trick us just now, we wouldn't have attacked Long Fei at all. It's all your fault, you cowardly, ungrateful scum. You don't know how to be grateful, and you still want to bewitch us. I'll kill you. Immediately, the entire Cannon Fodder Battalion fell into chaos. The few people who had initially wanted to attack Long Fei verbally became the target of tens of thousands of people and started to curse. Shut up. Suddenly, Long Fei's voice came from the sky. In an instant, no other sound could be heard. This was because strength was everything. Long Fei completely had the power to instantly kill them. If he told them to shut up, they wouldn't dare to say anything. Long Fei's cold gaze swept across everyone present. With a disdainful smile, he looked at Jiyu Xingdao once again, and said, "All right, you just said that we will cooperate, but at least let me see your sincerity. What do you think?" Long Fei sneered. "That's easy." Jiyu Xingdao lowered his head to take a look, and then his killing intent appeared once more. Swish! In the next moment, a red light whizzed past and directly turned into a bloody net that spread out. No. Long Fei, don't kill me. Hurry up and make him stop. We have no intention of becoming your enemy. We just want to live. Countless of pleas burst out, but Long Fei remained unmoved. Long Fei had given these people a chance before, but they didn't care about it themselves. Such a person's death was not worth lamenting. The begging continued, but it became weaker and weaker. In the end, they were all annihilated by the power of the ancient path. The system still did not drop anything. This was because they were too weak, so weak that even their experience was negligible. A moment later, Jiyu Xingdao once again appeared in front of Long Fei, and said, "Are you satisfied now?" Jiyu Xingdao said in a deep voice. "Ha ha ha, satisfied, very satisfied. But I reject what you said before." Long Fei laughed proudly. "I refuse." The three large words were nowhere to be seen, causing Jiyu Xingdao's expression to instantly become frantic. "Kid, are you messing with me?" The killing intent on Jiyu Xingdao surged and his face turned red. "Yes, you're right. I'm just playing with you. What can you do? However, you are only half right. Not only will I mess with you, I will also kill you. Big boss, go ahead and attack." Long Fei's eyes darkened, the seventh blade of the god of heaven berserkers slashed down from the sky. The seventh saber strike descended once again. The seventh saber strike descended once again. Explode. Long Fei's eyes turned cold and he slashed his blade downwards. Up until now, the battle had exhausted all means available to it. Finally, it was time to end it. Long Fei made a rough calculation. After this blade strike, even if Ji Yuxing didn't die, at most, he would only have 30 million blood left, and it would be impossible for him to turn the situation around. "No, Long Fei, don't kill me. I just broke through and haven't been bestowed the throne yet. Don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me." Jiyu Xingdao begged with a face full of unwillingness. "I beg of you, Long Fei, Master Long, please don't kill me. I finally reached where I am today with great difficulty. Let me enjoy this honor. I can follow you in the future. I am your subordinate. With a person like me, I accept the position of divine body. After I break through that realm, you will be able to walk unhindered in this unknown land. And those enemies of yours in the divine space, I can kill them all." The ancient path had changed into a red one. A purple, black and red cross had appeared. At this moment, his aura was in chaos. Facing Long Fei, he had already completely lost all courage to fight. No, it should be said that the current him didn't even have the qualifications to fight Long Fei. He was completely terrified. In the face of death, all his arrogance had disappeared without a trace. He could only beg for forgiveness and ask for the last chance of survival. "It's not a bad condition, but it's a pity that I don't agree to it. Did you have a good fight just now? Are you done? Are you trying to run away with your pants up? Where did such a good thing come from? What about the heavenly jewel master? If you want to be respected in front of me, you can't even dream about it." As Long Fei spoke, his heart was also filled with lingering fear. Inwardly, he thought that it was fortunate that he had acted decisively just now and didn't give Jiyu Xingdao the chance to do so. Initially, Jiyu Xingdao was still puzzled over why he was still heavily injured by the god of heaven. It could be understood now that there was another unique existence above the super great complete realm. It is called honorable seat. However, this power must be bestowed by the heavens. It was like a title. However, this title was bestowed upon him by the heavens. The only way to obtain power of that level was to bear the bestowal of the heavens and obtain a position of honor. "If I let you obtain the throne, how would I kill you?" They have to die. Long Fei thought. And at that moment, God of Heaven's madman's seventh blade fell. The blade attack was like the world was being turned upside down. The blade light directly submerged Jiyu Xingdao within it. Even though Jiyu Xingdao had channeled his energy and forcefully transformed it into purple clothes, it was still useless. No, Long Fei, you will regret killing me. If you kill me, you will become enemies with the entire Sky Empire. The Celestial Emperor is the sovereign of the entire Arceus region. If you dare to kill me, you will definitely die a miserable death. Jiyu Xingdao said with difficulty. Since begging had been useless before, there was only another way, and that was to threaten. But the thing that Long Fei was least afraid of was threats. Threatening me? Who do you care? You're just a boss, how could I be threatened by you? Long Fei said coldly, a killing intent erupting from his heart. Bosses were meant to drop. There was no such thing as a boss. He slashed out once again. This was the 8th move of the God of Heaven Berserkers. The 7th slash was able to produce over 80 million blood, and this slash was probably worth nearly 90 million. Under this kind of strength, no matter how powerful the ancient Tao was, it wouldn't be able to withstand it. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As he waved his blade, the entire sky began to twist and distort. The vast blade radiance seemed to emit killing intent from the heavens as it came crashing down. Too strong, Long Fei. You're so strong, why are you helping me? Li Wuxin was no longer able to speak to himself. Looking at the descending saber strike, he was so astonished that he could no longer speak. At the same time, he was also thinking about what Long Fei had said before. For a moment, he hesitated, not daring to make a decision. And the Long Fei at this time had also fallen into a state of waiting. However, the system seemed to be stuck, no sound could be heard. No way, he's not dead yet. Long Fei was stunned. This was already the 8th slash. Judging by the difference in the amount of blood left, as well as the power of an Empyrean god berserker, Jiyu Xingdao would definitely be as dead as he was ever going to be. Ha 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 ha, Long Fei, I am not dead. The power bestowed by the heavens has finally arrived. Ha ha, you didn't think that when I talked so much just now, I was only stalling for time. Now, the power bestowed by the heavens has finally descended. When I absorb it, I will have a position bestowed by the heavens. When that time comes, I will make you a prisoner. Every day, I will make you suffer a fate worse than death. At this moment, within the black and red light that had been submerged by the blade light, Jiyu Xingdao's voice exploded once again. Long Fei looked over, and his heart froze. At this moment, Jiyu Xingdao was already a dying man. His blood had long since been drained, but his soul was still enveloped by an indescribable power. Even his physical body was constantly recovering under this kind of power. Under this kind of power, the entire world became silent, as if all living things bowed down and respected it. Power of heaven? Your cultivation? Long Fei took 2 steps back and hesitated. This kind of strength was too strange. Even Long Fei felt that it was a power that he had never faced before, one that seemed to be everywhere, but also beyond perception. Brat, make your move. Otherwise, once he inherits this power, you won't even be a match for him. Just as Long Fei was hesitating, Long Batian suddenly called out his strength. Long Fei's heart stopped for a moment, as he was a little puzzled. Long Batian should have hoped for death, only then would he be able to complete his plans. Soon after, Long Fei felt a change in the pubes and understood. Long Batian, you want me to use the pubes' power, right? Long Fei sneered. The pubes could only be used 3 times, and after 3 times, Long Fei would also be burnt to ashes. Other than the power of the pubes, do you have any other methods to kill the other party? You did not. Long Batian muttered to himself. He was calm and collected, as though he was certain that Long Fei did not have any trump cards. Ha ha ha, without power? Long Batian, when did you know that I can only slash 8 times? Long Fei chuckled, and then moved the killing weapon in his hand. Heaven's bestowal? Hihi, so what if you're a gift from heaven? There's no need to fight over a boss with lousy. God of Heaven Berserk, 9th/, lock on. Long Fei locked onto her with his eyes and suddenly made his move. Swish. In the cold and silent void, the cold whistling sound of a blade slicing through the sky appeared. Instantly, this sound became the only melody. Soon after, a ray of saber light flashed across the air. It was tens of thousands of feet long and continued to condense until it finally became a normal size. At the same time, Long Fei's voice came out, Jiyu Xingdao, do you think that just because you have the power bestowed by the heavens, you will not die? Then I'll make you completely hopeless today. I am not willing to see your position of heaven bestowed to me. Even if it is the power of heaven, I will not be able to protect you. Explode for me. At this moment, in the Sky Empire, Ji Changfeng was sitting on the dragon throne. At this moment, in the Sky Empire, Ji Changfeng was sitting on the dragon throne. Power of heaven? And the blood-colored sky curtain? Had the street already broken through that boundary? Congratulations, our Sky Empire will gain another throne, our Sky Empire will be eternally stable. Ji Changfeng laughed heartily as he prepared for the banquet. He also prepared to send people to write a letter announcing the entrance of the ancient Tao into the capital. However, it was fated that he would never be able to see this day ever again. Other than that, there was an unknown place in the primal chaos. The Lord of Primal Chaos appeared once again, and looked in the direction of the Tian Yun city. Kid, even the power of divine powers is unable to stop you. As expected, he didn't let this old man down. Haha, Long Batian, you have really brought me a heavenly great opportunity. The Lord of Primordial Chaos laughed heartily. And then, the Primordial Chaos suddenly transformed, once more taking control of their bodies. The shadow disappeared. Of course, there was another person who was also attracted by this power far away from the unknown lands. Power of heaven? Yet another person wanted to be honored. Heh, but so what if I am called the sovereign? This emperor's power is something that you all are unable to shake. Amidst the light and shadow transformation, a cold, slandering voice could be heard. This man was the Emperor Xian. However, even if it was him, he would never have expected that no one would be able to match his power, and instead allow it to be destroyed by Long Fei. The scene turned back. Outside the Tian Yun city, on the battlefield. Long Fei stood proudly and waited quietly. And right in front of his eyes, Jiyu Xingdao's figure had been completely annihilated. He had been killed with a single slash of his blade, and even the power of the bestowal had disappeared without a trace. Ding! Right at this moment, the voice that Long Fei had been waiting for finally appeared. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tian Yun City Lord. You have obtained 160,000 experience points, 160,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Curtain Black Cloak. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Curtain Purple Robe. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Tianmu Hongi. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining Heaven's Curtain Technique. Do you wish to learn it? The system exploded continuously. Cultivate. The ancient Tao of Heaven's Curtain Technique was incomparably domineering. He had witnessed it with his own eyes and could even reverse it when it was in the sky. How could he not cultivate it? Ding! Practice successful. Current level, no level. Cultivation method, Sky Curtain Technique. Description: condensed sky curtain. Covering the sky and blotting out the sun, forming an area with absolute control over space. By relying on one's strength, one can condense black clothes in the sky, purple clothes in the sky, red clothes in the sky, and robes in the sky. Ding! The system has detected the power of the sky, automatic devour. Ding! Congratulations player, Heaven's Curtain Technique leveled up. Listening to the system's exploding sounds beside his ears, Long Fei finally managed to calm down a little. This time, he had already used level +1. If he did not get anything substantial, it would make Long Fei feel helpless. Fortunately, Long Fei was not disappointed this time. Although no overgod equipment dropped, Long Fei also did not feel that much. With the big killing tool here, It would be enough for him to use for a period of time. No, there's even striking value. Release. How could Long Fei possibly let go of such a super big boss that he had finally encountered? Ding. Player releases striking value. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining the power of heaven. Ding. Congratulations to player on obtaining special Jiang Li. Ding. Congratulations player on obtaining special Jiang Li. The system's voice resounded once again. Power of the heavens. Holy sh**. This time I'm really lucky. Even the power of divine aura was released. Haha, system, you are really a true savior. Long Fei laughed out loud. When he had released the heavenly curtain technique earlier, Long Fei was already extremely happy. He never thought that the moment he released his striking value, Long Fei felt that he had actually underestimated the berserking power. Divine power. This was one of the key forces for a single person dominating the primal chaos realm. Aside from a few people who were bestowed the position of hierarch, who else could possess it? But now, Long Fei had instantly revealed it. How could he not be excited? Following that, Long Fei immediately looked around, and when he did, his face immediately turned bitter. Heavenly power, formed from 30 strands of power within the ancient world, it possesses the ability to obtain a seat of honor and mobilize powers related to its cultivation. Description: all this power can be used in the thousands of planes below ancient world. Special notification: player Long Fei's level is too low, cannot be used. Originally, Long Fei would be more shocked every time he looked at the first few notifications. This kind of power was surprisingly molded in the ancient world, a special power that was blessed by the heavens. There were only 30 of them in the entire ancient world. This meant that in the entire world, no more than 30 people could reach this level of cultivation. If the next person wanted to obtain this power, they would have to kill the lord who had already obtained it. Only then would they be able to obtain it. Just this point alone was enough to prove the strength of this power. If anyone found out that Long Fei possessed this power, they would definitely fight to the death for it in this entire unknown land and divine space. The heck, aren't you trying to keep Lousy in suspense? Insufficient cultivation? This is so King disgusting. Long Fei cursed in his heart. This situation meant that there was a bed in front of you, and there was a peerless beauty on the bed. However, you are currently a dwarf, and you can only look. You simply cannot do it. As hard as it felt. Once again, Long Fei felt the importance of a breakthrough. Upgrade, upgrade. Next, no matter what, I have to level up as soon as possible. Long Fei clenched his teeth, determined that after this matter was resolved, he would definitely find a place to level up. Soon after, Long Fei looked at the other reward. Secret World. Even though it was a special reward, it couldn't be denied that the boss had dropped it. Especially this name, which allowed Long Fei to instantly associate it with the Emperor of Absolute Destruction. The Prison of Annihilation. Interesting. When we find the Great Varja and Uru, we'll go in and take a look. Long Fei thought, and retracted his thoughts. Li Wuxin also came over at this time, and asked in disbelief, Long Fei, where's the ancient path? It can't really be dead, right? At this time, Li Wuxin was still immersed in the previous scene. That battle was earth-shattering, completely breaking his common sense. Of course, I've already told you not to worry. If there's anything, I'll fight. Long Fei said softly. After he finished speaking, he looked at Li Wuxin. How is it? Is what I said before still true? I heard someone say that if I can survive, then they will recognize me as their boss. Long Fei looked at Li Wuxin in anticipation. This was also a mission. Furthermore, this was the inheritance of the Emperor of the Extinction. He might even be able to trigger some clues about the Emperor of the Extinction. Hearing that, Li Wuxin also became silent, but just as she was about to speak, her face suddenly changed. Not good. Someone else is coming. Long Fei reacted in an instant, and in the entire world, an aura that was close to berserk swept over. Long Fei reacted in an instant, and in the entire world, an aura that was close to berserk swept over. This aura surged with boundless fury as it descended from the sky. It's the Tian clan. Long Fei said in a serious tone. He had already killed Tian Ba earlier and had even exploded out with the power of the Rampage Warrior, the Rampage Warrior's heart, and the Rampage Warrior's blood. Therefore, the moment this void transformation occurred, Long Fei had already guessed who this person was. However, this person was extremely powerful and was definitely not someone that Tian Badao could compare with. Let's go. Long Fei made a decision. In his current state, it was indeed not suitable for combat. The god of heaven Berserk had fallen into a cooldown, and his immortal body had already reached its limit. It would not be realistic to deal with an expert at this level. Li Wuxin was already prepared to run. He was really afraid that Long Fei would risk his life to fight. Su. Long Fei and Li Wuxin instantly turned into a flowing light and flew away. After 3 breaths, the two had already disappeared without a trace. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Just as the two figures disappeared, the shadow of a fist pierced through the sky and caused the entire Tianyun city to be shaken up. Damn it, kill my Tian family members and take away my Tian family's blood vein. Damn it, no matter who it is, I will definitely drag you out and lock you in the Tian family's raging purgatory so that you can endure the pain of being deprived of your strength. A 10 feet tall figure whose muscles were bursting descended from the sky. Looking at the scene of a battle that had turned into ruins, he said with a cold voice. He naturally did not know that the culprit who had caused all of this had already left long ago and came to the Tianyun city. Long Fei, it's not appropriate for us to do this, right? Would it not cause a commotion if we entered the Tianyun city like this? Li Wuxin pulled Long Fei, and said somewhat speechlessly. That's right, after leaving the battlefield, Long Fei's first decision was to come to the Tianyun city. This made Li Wuxin unable to understand. Even the Tianyun city lord had died in his hands. He came to Tianyun city so brazenly. Was he not here to cause trouble? The most dangerous place is the most dangerous place. Now, who would know that the ancient path is dead? No one. In other words, if we were to enter the city lord's mansion as the Tianyun city's masters, no one would doubt us. Long Fei's eyes moved, his face was filled with a scheming smile. Enter as the Tianyun city's master? You're crazy. Li Wuxin shouted. Let's not talk about the appearance, even if it's cultivation. How are you going to continue pretending? Tianyun City Lord is a powerhouse at the peak of the super perfection. What about you? Li Wuxin doubted, but her feelings towards Long Fei, who had previously been submissive, were drowned once again. Long Fei stared blankly at her, and couldn't help but feel somewhat helpless in his heart. What the hell? Is this quest really just an A-class one? Long Fei could not help but look down on the system. Of course, the most important thing was still his disdain towards Li Wuxin. Right now, Li Wuxin had already been labeled as such in Long Fei's heart. She had already done this, yet she still hadn't moved him. This was a life-saving favor. Although he was not ungrateful like the group of people in the cannon fodder camp, he still stood by Long Fei's side. However, for Long Fei, not recognizing a boss was the biggest mistake he had ever made. There is no need to doubt me. Believe me, yes. How about we make another bet? If I can safely sneak into the city lord's mansion and even make them acknowledge me as their city lord, how about you acknowledge me as your boss? Long Fei said. Li Wuxin looked at Long Fei with a serious face, and said firmly in the end, all right, if you really can make people listen to your words in the city lord's mansion, then from now on, you are my, Li Wuxin's, big boss. Hee, good. Now you just watch and see. Long Fei laughed mischievously as he immediately executed the heavenly curtain technique. In an instant, a black robe appeared on Long Fei's body. At the same time, several miles away from the two of them, they were also engulfed by the black aura and were completely isolated from the outside world. This is Tianyun City Lord's cultivation technique. How could you? Li Wuxin was extremely surprised. Long Fei glanced at Li Wuxin, chuckled, and said, there are a lot of things you don't know. God is not omnipotent, but I am omnipotent. Let's go, we're entering the city. With that said, Long Fei entered the city. Li Wuxin, on the other hand, was completely dazed as he followed in Long Fei's footsteps, and walked forward step by step. At this time, in a village 3,000 kilometers away from Tianyun City, Li Yuanba was immersed in a bloody battle. And the people in front of him were none other than the great elders of the Yang God's tribe. He dares to obstruct us with such little strength. Speak, where is Long Fei? As long as you account Long Fei's whereabouts, I can still spare your dog life. Or else, not only you, even the woman behind you will die. The elder from the Yangshu God's tribe said with a face full of arrogance, completely disregarding Li Yuanba. Old dog, aren't you relying on the combined power of all of you? Otherwise, do you think you can injure Lousy? You want to know news about my boss? Hey. I know, but I won't tell you. What can you do? Li Yuanba placed the axe by his side, forcefully supporting the pressure of the formation pattern formed by the presbyter of God's tribe. You still dare to be arrogant? You dog, let's see how long you can endure this. Descendant of God's tribe Yang, unleash the power of the sky spill, suppress him. The Yang presbyter of God's tribe said. As the sound of his voice faded, the dozens of Yang clan descendant of God's tribe walked forward with a look of disdain. They gathered their power and condensed their power from the heavens, condensing into strange lines that gathered in the array patterns formed by the elders in the air. Boop. Immediately, Li Yuanba's feet sank and his legs almost bent down. Humph! Li Yuanba groaned, blood veins started to appear in his eyes. Under this kind of pressure, even he was unable to withstand it. But who was Li Yuanba? He had followed Long Fei from the god's martial continent, and was the head of the 8 King Kong. Haha, just this little bit of strength. Do you have the guts to come again? Your father is standing right here. If you have the guts, then get your father down, otherwise, no one can even think of touching my sister-in-law. Blood trickled down from the corner of Li Yuanba's mouth, but he was still as arrogant as before. Behind him, Yu Ru was already unconscious and heavily injured. Haha, the problem is, can you protect it? She has the power of the same branch as us. As a presbyter of God's tribe, my words are enough to take away her power. If I want to kill her, I only need to move my mouth. So, I am giving you one last chance, tell me where Long Fei is, or else, this old man will let you all die here. Then I'll strip you and tie you together. Presumably, if Long Fei knew about this in the future, his expression would definitely become extremely emotional. Amazing, right? Haha, I've been tricked by my most trusted brother. He's truly pushed to the climax. I'm so lucky. The men from the Yang God's tribe laughed madly. However, even as he laughed, Li Yuanba was thoroughly enraged. My God, your grandmother's legs, if I don't kill you, I won't be called Li Yuanba. Tianyun City, City Lord's Mansion. Tianyun City, City Lord's Mansion. Everyone kneeled in the center of the City Lord's Mansion. In front of them was Long Fei, who was wreaking havoc. Because of the black qi, Long Fei no longer had to conceal himself, he could just directly use the qi to become the barrier. There was only one reason, and that was, in this world, the only one who cultivated the heavenly canon was Jiyu Xingdao. Therefore, Long Fei only needed to use black heavenly curtain to reveal his identity. Welcome back, City Lord. The City Lord's cultivation has increased by a huge amount. This is truly a cause for celebration. Presumably, Long Fei was killed by the City Lord during this trip. A thing that escaped with its life from the divine space actually dares to act arrogantly in front of us. It's not worth dying for. The City Lord's mansion was full of flattery. However, when Long Fei heard these words, he was extremely unhappy. What the hell, do you really want me to die? When I don't need this level of identity, none of you will be able to escape. Long Fei thought coldly in his heart. Li Wuxin, who was at the side, looked at Long Fei and could not help but laugh. His face was flushed red. What are you laughing at? In less than 3 days, they will be kneeling down and singing Conquest. Long Fei coldly snorted. Then, his gaze shifted to another direction, a group of familiar people. Of course, they were enemies. They were people of the divine space and the Qin family. Master of the ancient city, you just said that Long Fei has already been killed by you? Is this true? Divine space, Zhu family, Lin family members all had nervous expressions. The reason they entered this location was precisely for Long Fei. What if Long Fei was killed? Then who should they look for? Looking for the ancient path in front of him? Of course. Just a mere ant. Once I make my move, how could he possibly still have a chance to live? Long Fei said. As his voice fell, the people of the Zhu and Lin families, and even those who desired divine spaces, could no longer remain calm. If that's the case, then living in the ancient city has already obtained the power of Long Fei's pubes. The Zhu family member said. Not bad, I really have to thank you. This Long Fei's power was indeed strange. It must be said that Long Fei is also an awesome existence, much stronger than you bunch of trash. This city lord exhausted all his methods to kill Long Fei. His pubes' power is only a remnant soul. It just happened to help me break through this layer of shackles and break through to my current realm. Long Fei said as he secretly channeled his innate talent. Even though he couldn't use this power, he could still use it to show off his power. Instantly, all the discontented emotions and voices disappeared without a trace. No one dared to make a sound. Especially the members of the Zhu and Wang families, their faces were pale. To them, this aura was a type of fatal suppression. A heaven's chosen was the limit of one's cultivation. No one could break this iron law. In front of the honored tutor, all war generals and spiritual immortals were useless trash. They were all lowly ants that had been completely crushed. As for Long Fei, he was already overjoyed at the moment. With this identity, he had belittled them to the point where they were worse than pigs and dogs. This feeling could only be described by one word: awesome. He had even praised Meng Hao to his heart's content. Li Wuxin, who was at the side, was already stunned by Long Fei's shamelessness. She secretly gave a thumbs up, but did not say a word. Congratulations to the ancient city lord for breaking through to the honored warrior realm. In the future, the power of the Tianyun city will definitely rise another level. Yes, since the ancient city lives here today, we have the honor of becoming one of the few strongest people in the entire ancient world. It is truly a blessing for us to be able to meet face to face. Right, the ancient city lord is truly proud of the world. These people began to flatter him crazily. In front of Long Fei, they didn't even have the courage to raise their heads. As for those from the city lord's mansion, their doubts were dispelled. Originally, when they saw Long Fei being wrapped up by a ball of black aura, they felt a little suspicious. But now, once the aura of the bestowal of heaven appeared, they immediately understood. A heavenly jewel master. Their city lord was already revered, their true appearance was not something they could see. Awesome, let's see who dares to look down on our Tianyun city in the future. What dog currency, it's not even worth mentioning. From today onwards, besides the Sky Empire, our Tianyun city is number one. The disciples of the Tianyun city were instantly overpowered. This was what it meant for a person to ascend the Tao to the heavens. In the darkness, Long Fei was filled with a cold smile. Your mayor has already died. But don't worry, we'll meet again very soon. Long Fei thought as his eyes moved. At this moment, the anger deep inside his bones exploded, and all the hair on his body stood on end. This feeling made Long Fei feel like suffocating. King Kong, Yu Ru. Long Fei immediately woke up. In this location, the only people who could affect him were Li Yuanba and Yu Ru. One brother and one woman. There was only one thing that could make him feel like he was suffocating, and that was their current situation. Thinking to this point, Long Fei immediately turned around to look at the person from the divine space. Have you guys found that brother Long Fei and his woman yet? Since Long Fei is already dead, they are naturally this city lord's spoils of war. Long Fei said. It's too easy for the ancient city's lord to find out where they are. Right, it just so happens that there's an anomaly over there. Who knows, maybe the Nanshan God's tribe has already made his move. Coincidentally, I heard that the Heavenly Empire is planning to attack the God's tribe, and it's a good idea to capture them all. The members of the Zhu and Jiyu families and the Lin clan fought each other to speak. Long Fei was already dead, so it would be a type of harvest for them if they could connect him with a powerhouse who was respected. Very well, let's set off now. As Long Fei spoke, he took the lead and caused a black curtain to sweep up. Su su su. The purple-armored guards of the Tianyun city, the guest elders of the city lord and the powerhouses of the divine space did not dare to stop even for a moment as they followed behind Long Fei. 1,000 miles away, outside the villa. Ha ha, continue shouting. Didn't you say you would kill us all? Then move. Under the suppression of our Nanshan God's tribe, you still dare to shout and kill us? Who gave you the courage? The Yang God's tribe elder laughed madly. At this time, Li Yuanbar's entire body had already bent down. But still, he kept her completely hidden beneath his body. Hehe, old thing, kill me if you have the guts. It's impossible for you to find out news of my boss. Li Yuanbar said, his mouth exposing a sinister smile. The muscles all over his body were already torn apart by this pressure, lacerated into a bloody mess. His entire state of mind was on the verge of collapse. Humph, you bastard, you are just an ant that doesn't care about face. Since you want to die for Long Fei so much, this elder will grant your wish. The Yang presbyter of God's tribe coldly said. Then, his hand released the power of the heavens, suppressing. C4122. C4122 1 second, remember, pen, interesting pavilion www. bbeak.com, read for free. To put it bluntly, the power of the sky spill was a form of suppression. This power was different from the heavenly dipper power. The power of the heaven's birth was a complete derivation, creating from nothing. Otherwise, Yang Tian wouldn't have been able to call himself an emperor. However, the power of the heaven's divination was only a side effect of the power of the sky spill. But even so, he could not be underestimated. Under this kind of strength, Li Yuanbar was completely enduring the pain. He could resist, but if he were to make a move, there was no doubt that he would be in danger. No, sister-in-law absolutely cannot be hurt. Even if I die, I can't let anything happen to my sister-in-law. Otherwise, how would I have the face-to-face with boss? I am King Kong. Li Yuanbar clenched his teeth tightly, his legs had already bent, and he was deep in the ground. In some places, the bones and flesh had already been separated. The truly eerie white bones were exposed. Even the 5 fingers holding the axe had become bone claws. He's really tough, but what can he do? Trash is trash, why don't you make a move? So what if your strength is berserk? Do you dare to take action? As long as you make a move, this lowly slave girl will die. The Yangshu presbyter of God's tribe coldly said. With a step, he instantly moved onto the pattern and stepped on it with his right foot. Rumble rumble rumble. Rumble rumble rumble. Rumble rumble rumble. The pressure on the entire rune increased by several times. KCHA. Asterisk the sound of bones shattering could be heard. Li Yuanbar's legs bent once again, and he was less than a few centimeters away from the ground. With a single step, he would lose his support and kneel. He was in a precarious situation. Li Yuanbar's eyes were scarlet red, his pupils exploding as though they were about to pop out from their sockets. The hatred in his heart overflowed to the heavens. At this moment, if it wasn't to protect Yu, even if he were to die, Li Yuanbar would definitely not be so useless. You dare to glare at me, you dog. My clan's young master kindly allowed that ungrateful Long Fei to enter the secret world, yet he actually tried to assassinate my clan's young master and destroy my clan's secret world. This kind of dog, even if I were to die 10,000 times, this old man will still hate it. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for following a useless master. The Yang presbyter of God's tribe said, his expression fierce. But at this moment, a black shadow cut across the sky. The sky suddenly turned dark. It was like a piece of black cloth covering the sun, covering the sky. The light dissipated. Darkness descended. The expression on the faces of the men from the Yang God's tribe changed. It was like they were facing a great enemy. Who? The expressions of the men from the Yang God's tribe changed greatly. Under the dark curtain, it was as if their powers had met their natural enemy. They couldn't completely suppress it and couldn't use it at all. Following the appearance of this black curtain, the pressure on Li Yuanbar's body abruptly loosened. The scarlet red in his eyes retreated and exploded into a brilliant light. He could feel that behind this curtain of darkness, there was Long Fei's aura. Just as he was about to speak, he heard a voice. "Don't make a sound, I am using my identity as the Tianyun City's master right now. We'll talk after we save you guys." It was Long Fei's sound transmission. Long Fei had already considered this. At the same time he saved Li Yuanba, he also sent a sound transmission, afraid that his identity would be exposed. At the same time, several figures descended from the sky. Each of his auras was more tyrannical than the other. Furthermore, his strength was completely different and incomparably valiant. "All of you." The Yang God's tribe elder's face became flustered. He had already guessed the origins of these people. "Shua, Shua, Shua." At this moment, another uniform voice sounded out, followed closely by a purple armored guard. If he had been a little hesitant before, then now that this scene had occurred, all his guesses had become absolute facts. Tianyun City. The voice of the Yang Presbyter of God's tribe trembled with fear. If the Tianyun City wanted to deal with the Yang God's tribe, they would have sensed it long ago. When Long Fei and the rest entered the secret world, the great emperor sculpting sculpture had already given them a warning. The node of the God's tribe had already been deduced. If they hadn't stopped them in time, they might have already been found. Afterwards, the Sky Spill secret world collapsed. Their Yang God's tribe had basically been exposed. And only then did they come out to find Long Fei, as they were already prepared to fight. But now, seeing this power that had suddenly descended, his heart was in a state of panic. Without mentioning Long Fei, who was wrapped in black aura, he could not even see through his cultivation. Just the aura alone was enough to make him feel like he was facing the world of ancient world, that kind of pressure. No, that's impossible. The ancient Tao definitely does not have this level of cultivation. "Who exactly are you?" The Yang God's tribe elder said crazily, his eyes gleaming. In the center of this endless darkness, the aura was so tyrannical that it was a complete mess, causing him to feel like he was about to collapse. "Shut up, God's tribe's trash. The ancient city's lord has already been respected. Is it something that a trash like you can compare to? Yeah, a mere Yang God's tribe dares to talk back to the ancient city. Right now, we don't even need the Sky Empire to do anything, we can eliminate all of you. HMPH, courting death. You didn't hide properly and became a mouse, but you still dare to come out and jump around." The people from the divine space and the Qin family all fought to open their mouths. In the darkness, Long Fei's eyes flashed with ridicule. "Dog, dog, 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 dog. Fight, kill one, lose one. Anyway, with this little bit of experience, I don't think much of it." Long Fei looked on coldly. At this time, the people from the Yangshu God's tribe were already trembling. He instinctively retreated. Especially the Nangong elder, when he heard the people from the divine space call him Jizun, his knees went weak, and he almost fell down. "Honored. Jiyu Xingdao is a honorary powerhouse. You're courting death, my Yang God's tribe. How can we fight like this? Isn't our Yangshu God's tribe destined to die? Ancient City Lord, I knelt down for you. From today onwards, our Suo God's tribe will hide away and never appear again. Please be merciful and let us go." The Yang Presbyter of God's tribe immediately begged for mercy. Heaven's bestowment on the throne was a symbol of invincibility. Who could resist? Who would dare to disobey? As for whether it was true or not, he dared not doubt it even more. With so many powerhouse before him bowing in submission, how could it be false? Kill. But these words were useless to Long Fei. The existence of the Yang God's tribe had already touched his reverse scale. His brother, his woman, was not to be touched. Whoever touched him would die. As Long Fei's voice fell, the purple armored guards of the Tianyun City, the divine space, and the Qin family's powerhouses all made their moves. The Jiyu family's general and the Lin family's spiritual immortal each used their sacred arts, causing the entire world of darkness to once again shine with brilliance. Puff. Fart. Goo. Boom. All sorts of power exploded outwards. Those who had comprehended the gods' tribe were like vegetables. One move was enough to kill them. They had no way to defend themselves. Boom. 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 One after another, descendant of God's tribe Yang fell into the pool of blood. They didn't even have time to wail before they died without a complete corpse. In the blink of an eye, only the Yang presbyter of God's tribe remained. No, ancient city lord, don't kill me. I admit defeat. I'm willing to hand over the secret of God's tribe Yang. As long as you can spare my life, I'm willing to speak of the node of God's tribe Yang. The Yang presbyter of God's tribe madly kowtowed, his forehead dripping with blood. He did not dare stop. No need, all I want is your life. From within the darkness, Long Fei's cold and heartless voice echoed. This was the response he got. After torturing the Vajra into such a state, even Uro had already lost consciousness. After torturing the Vajra into such a state, even Uro had already lost consciousness. You still want to live under these circumstances? It did not exist. Long Fei would definitely not tolerate such a thing happening. You have no right to beg for forgiveness in front of me right now. Strength is everything. A mere Yang God's tribe dares to act so arrogantly in front of this city leader. Even without this city leader's help, they are already doomed to die. And you are definitely not the first. With just a few words, he had already decided the fate of the Yang presbyter of God's tribe. There wasn't even a need for Long Fei to act. The people from the divine space were already acting on his behalf. The Jiyu family general moved his hand and the weapon appeared in his hand. With a thrust of his spear, the cultivation of the 8th level of the super-perfection exploded. His spear pierced straight through the chest of the presbyter of God's tribe. Then, his neck tilted to the side, as though he was dead. Long Fei remained calm and collected. He would never act if he could. If he was able to get others to make a move and he was able to reap the rewards from the situation, then he would absolutely not expose himself. It's just a pity that it's just a little bit of experience. Long Fei thought regretfully in his heart. But right at this moment. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing presbyter of God's tribe Yang. You have obtained 70,000 experience, 70,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations player on obtaining heavenly sword. Ding. The heavenly energy has been devoured. Long Fei was startled. He didn't expect to gain so much experience after being killed by someone else. It was simply lying in bed. Without doing anything, he had gained experience just like that. Was there anything better than this? If there was, it was definitely a repeat. Master, although this power is not pure, and is far inferior to the power of Sky Spill, it's still good enough to be a toothpick. The Sky Evolution Beast's voice came out from the system, and after chewing a bit, it spoke to Long Fei. City Lord, we have already killed all of the Yang God's tribe's traitors. Are we still going to attack their base camp? Lin Clan's Ling Xian said. In order to prevent the ancient path from putting on their small shoes, he had no choice but to stand out, afraid that the Jiyu family would be too eye-catching and miss out on this opportunity to show off their skills. All right, attack at full speed. As long as you take care of the Yenwu God's tribe, it will be a great achievement. From now on, this mayor will be the backer of your family. Even if it's the group of bastards from Xian nationality S, there's no need to be afraid. Long Fei said arrogantly. Not a single one of them could be missing out on the entire set. Long Fei came up from the divine space, so he naturally knew that these Jubi families were no match for the Xian nationality. All these years, they had always been suppressed by him. That was why he said that now. Furthermore, he was a powerhouse right now. If he didn't even have this kind of confidence, then it would make people even more suspicious. Instantly, the faces of the people from the divine space lit up. With Long Fei's words, it was as if their hearts were on stimulants, and they had become a completely different person. Mayor, don't worry, it's just the Yangshu God's tribe, a group of scum that should have long disappeared from history. Right, We don't need the mayor to intervene in this battle. Just leave it to us. I hope that the city lord will keep his word. This way, we can have a chance to shine. Xian nationality, Emperor Xian, we can all do the same. The experts of the divine space all spoke out, their faces were filled with passion as though they had seen a woman. Millimeter. Go. Long Fei said indifferently. Then, he arrived in front of Li Yuanba. As for you too. Ha ha ha, Long Fei has already died in this city's master's hands, you are his spoils of war. Today, this city will devour them and destroy their souls. As Long Fei said this, the dark energy instantly wrapped around Li Yuanba and Yu Ru's figures. The mayor is indeed powerful, worthy to be called a respected expert. Once he used his godly technique, who could compete with him? That's right, with this method, even the Emperor Xian would not be able to compare to it. Immediately, the members of the Zhu and Lin families spoke up one after another, not giving up on any opportunity to flatter. What kind of dog is Emperor Xian? Just an old bastard. Long Fei disdained. Cut the crap. Now, follow this city leader and destroy the Yangtian family. Long Fei said. His figure moved, and the darkness disappeared again. Inside the endless darkness, Li Yuanba looked at Long Fei with excitement. Boss. Li Yuanba endured the pain on his body and said. You've worked hard. Long Fei was extremely deep, and the fire in his eyes seemed to have solidified, shocking everyone who saw it. Hihi, it's fine, boss. At least I can guarantee sister-in-law's safety. I'll be fine no matter what. Li Yuanba said with a silly smile. He wanted to reach out to stroke his bald head, but when he raised his hand, his fingers that were like bones, were once again put down in embarrassment. All of you are the same. In my heart, you are all indispensable. No matter who it is, I will make them pay with their lives if I hurt them. As Long Fei said this, his gaze turned towards Yu Ru. At this moment, the aura coming from Yu Ru's body was extremely chaotic. In particular, her life's power, the power of the sky-shifting art, was flickering within her body. If not for the fact that Long Fei had long ago used the power of sky spill to draw out the pattern of his power and fuse it into her body, it was likely that it would have been even more severe now. She was severely injured, as if her life force was taken away. Suddenly, Li Wuxin interrupted their conversation, raised her head, and said to Long Fei. Don't worry, this is perfect too. It's fine if you don't want the power of trash. Long Fei's eyes flashed, and said. Li Wuxin and Li Yuanba were both surprised, they did not understand what Long Fei meant. Hihi, because I've already obtained a power more suitable for Yu Ru. Before this power, the power in her body before was simply trash. No, calling them trash is overestimating them. They are simply a pile of dog shit. Long Fei said as he took out the power of Great Emperor Yang's inheritance from the system. Immediately, Li Wuxin was dumbstruck, her face full of disbelief as she looked at Long Fei. How can this power be so powerful? Even the aura of a paragon wouldn't be that powerful, right? Li Wuxin was shocked as she looked at Long Fei with a complicated expression. On the other hand, Li Yuanba didn't care at all. Even if Long Fei took out the head of the Emperor Xian, he would not be surprised. Because in his eyes, Long Fei was a legend. Nothing mattered, nothing was impossible. As long as Long Fei wanted to do something, nothing bad would happen. And at this time, Long Fei did not reply again. With a face of caution, he held Yu Ru in his embrace, then used his heaven's divination power to wrap around the ball of energy, and slowly fused it into Yu Ru's body. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At this time, in the Sky Spill Emperor's system, the mark of Emperor Yang's body suddenly erupted with a massive golden light. Long Fei moved his hand and took out the Sky Evolution imprint. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Golden light flickered, and all of them entered Yu Ru's body. At the same time, that ball of energy entered into Yu Ru's body. It was like a supportive medicine, allowing Yu Ru to completely refine the power. At the same time, a clear sound came from the system. Ding. Ding. Emperor Yang Tian's power inheritance has successed. Ding. Emperor Yang Tian's power inheritance has successed. Emperor Yang Tian has been activated. Inheritance activated. Long Fei looked at Yu. Even if he continued to use black heavenly curtain to hide himself, it was completely unable to cover up the profound light being released from Yuru's body. This light. This aura. Could it be that one can be called an emperor just by awakening? My woman is a female emperor. Long Fei couldn't help but think of something. Of course, this female empress was raised by him. The female empress in the novels of his previous life didn't have any relationship at all. It was also at this time that the powerhouse following behind Long Fei. Looking at the light that bloomed around Long Fei, and the mysterious feeling that was difficult to comprehend, all of them looked at each other. What a strong aura. In the end, he is still a respected powerhouse. Even when cultivating, his strength is still so terrifying. Yes, this time, even without Long Fei, this trip to the unknown place would not be too disappointing. Honored people, the ancient world is just a few of them. Even if the Emperor Xian is an established position, the difference should not be big. These people still harbored yearning in their hearts, treating this energy as Long Fei's cultivation. On the other hand, Long Fei deliberately slowed his pace. Currently, Yu was still in the stage of awakening, so all Long Fei had to do was to protect her. The mysterious glow continued to emanate out from Yuru's body, and the intense power of the heaven-devouring divine art rotated madly. At the same time, the aura of Yuru's body also began to grow stronger. Boop! A flash of light. Yu directly broke through. From the second level of the ancient powers, he had broken through to the second level of the paragon level in the blink of an eye. This was only the beginning. Boop! He had broken through once again. Supreme Paragon, 5th level. The 6th level of the paragon. The 7th level, the 9th level. There weren't any gaps between them. With a jump, the level changed in the blink of an eye. He has already reached the level of perfection. Will you take another step? Long Fei's eyes were filled with anticipation. Even now, he could still feel a surge of explosive power emanating from Yuru's body. However, 3 minutes had passed. Yu still hadn't broken through. However, the aura exuding from his body was already extremely powerful, which was already an absolute height among the great perfection. Even the Jiyu Xingdao that they had fought before could not achieve a breakthrough. Yes. With a moan, Yu slowly opened her eyes. Long Fei. Ah. Yu cried out as her eyes filled with tears. It's okay. With me here, no one will be able to hurt you. Long Fei said. Yu was too kind, and too delicate in Long Fei's eyes, so he shouldn't have to bear all of this. Therefore, in that moment, Long Fei's heart was filled with killing intent. Boss, I'm afraid anyone who wants to touch eldest sister-in-law would have to consider whether or not they have the right to do so. Li Yuanba said. He. That's true. Now, whoever wants to touch you, will have to see if they have 2 lives. Long Fei grinned, and then spoke his mind. I am already at the peak of the super perfection. Yu looked at Long Fei in disbelief, and then felt the energy contained in her body, making her even more shocked. What you mean is, I've already completely inherited the inheritance of Emperor Yang Tian? Yu asked tentatively. Right, that's not right either. You have inherited the power of Emperor Yang Tian, but in a way, it has nothing to do with him. So, you can also think like this, that you are a living female Emperor Yang Tian. Long Fei said with pride. Yu was one of his women, and his woman had become a great emperor. Who could do such a thing? I'm just asking you, are you that awesome? Yen, I will protect you from now on. No one can hurt you, Yu said with a red face. Good. I also want to experience the grace of a female emperor. Long Fei winked at him, thinking, 1 word, 2 words. Yu had originally been nodding her head, but when she thought about the meaning behind Long Fei's words, her face suddenly flushed red. Boss, I really don't want to disturb you too, but can you give me a pill to help me recover first? Li Yuanba said with a simple and honest smile. Long Fei's face reddened. Yuru's face turned even redder. Only Li Wuxin felt as if his view of the world had collapsed. It was as if the events of the past 2 days were even more legendary than anything he had experienced in his entire life. What? You say that my clan's elders have already been killed by the divine space and the people of the Tianyun city? Within the Yang Tian world, the face of the Yang Gods tribe's leader, Bai Qi, became extremely gloomy. From the collapse of the Sky Spill secret world to the death of the Sky Spill presbyter of God's tribe, this was a fatal blow to the Sky Spill God's tribe. The most crucial point was that his son, who had already obtained a placing in the God of Boundary, had died miserable deaths in secret world Yang Tian. Long Fei, it's all because of you, you little bastard. No matter what, you must die. Bai Qi had a gloomy expression, incomparably hateful. It was at this moment, however, that a rumbling sound could be heard. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In the entire realm, countless rivers and mountains began to crack and shatter. Chief, it's bad. The people outside have already arrived. The Yang Gods tribe disciple panicked and reported, his face was filled with fear. He actually dares to attack our door? Jiyu Xingdao, I would like to see what cultivation realm you are in now. A savage smile appeared on Bai Qi's face as a sense of hatred started growing. Patriarch. Not only the ancient elemental Tao of the Tianyun city, a group of divine space cultivators had attacked them as well, and they were all extremely respectful to the ancient Tao. I seem to hear them calling him Lord. Kche. Asterisk the malevolence on Bai Qi's face had yet to disappear when it abruptly turned into fear. Overlord. Are you sure you didn't hear wrongly? Bai Qi asked in panic. Who could be revered? People of the divine space always had their eyes set on the top. If it was only because of the Sky Empire, then how could they respect them? The only possibility was the cultivation of the ancient Tao. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At this time, a curtain of black light cut through the nodes of the Yotian world, engulfing the entire horizon. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The entire space instantly turned dark. There's no need for him. This city lord will answer to you. You're right, I am already worthy of your respect. We understand. Long Fei's voice came out from the darkness like thunder, shaking the entire world. At the same time, he released the aura of that heavenly power. All life trembled, and all power dimmed. In front of the power of a heaven's gift, everything had to be bowed down. Even Bai Qi's power of the Sky Spill art was unable to block it at this moment. Staring at the dark curtain with trembling hands, Zhongxian's fingers trembled uncontrollably. Honor! No! Impossible, my clan's supreme elder has surpassed the heavens and earth, you do not have the chance to become a sovereign. No, it's fake, it must be fake. Madness! Madness! Bai Qi howled in madness as he staggered backward. He was extremely clear about the terror of a heaven's gift, and knew that it was comparable to a great emperor. Just like Emperor Yang Tian, he had to exert the power of Yang Tian to the extreme in order to become a true emperor. But now, if Jiyu Xingdao was truly respected, it would be a fatal blow to their Yangshu Gods tribe. You still dare to clamor? Bai Qi, your Yang Gods tribe is finished. The Qin clan elder said. Even though the Yang Gods tribe had existed for a long time, they still had some understanding of the matters of the Yang Gods tribe, and now they could call out Bai Qi's name. No. This was impossible. Our clan had once retired and acted before. In this life, there will definitely be people who will be honored, but it is definitely not the path of ancient history. As Bai Qi spoke, a sinister light flickered in his eyes as he stared at the dark screen in the air. Speak, who exactly are you? Why are you pretending to be an ancient era's path to deceive people? Bai Qi said. In the dark. Long Fei was startled, and more or less, surprised. He hadn't thought that the first person to see through him would be Bai Qi. But how could Long Fei admit it? It was impossible for them to see through his disguise with their strength anyway. I didn't expect that the Yang Gods tribe would have such a deep background. He has already deduced some clues many years ago. Long Fei said. Heh, boss, so what if you're strong? I was still played by you as a cripple in the end. Right now, my elder sister-in-law is the living Emperor Yang Tian, What Yenwu God's tribe, it's nothing. Li Yuanba said. Long Fei also looked at Yu. At the end of the day, Yuro had some connections with the Yangtian race. Even if he wasn't from the Yangtian God's tribe, her grandfather definitely had some unclear connections with him. You have already inherited the power of the Sky Spill. What do you think of the people from the Sky Spill God's tribe? Long Fei asked tenderly. Hearing Long Fei's question, Yuru's heart softened, and her gaze towards Long Fei became even more affectionate. Actually, I should also be from the Yang God's tribe. It's just that when I was very young, my grandfather had already been deprived of his power by them, and I only inherited some of it. It is also because of this little bit of power that my grandfather and I have been wandering among the great clans of Thousand Sun City for so many years, becoming tools for their open secret realm. It's a good thing that I haven't made any mistakes in the past few years. It wasn't until that time in Thousand Sun City that the Zhao family gave birth to an evil thought and wanted to strip grandfather and me of our power. Only then did they. Yuru slowly said. At the end, he stopped whimpering and just remained silent. It was only at this moment that Long Fei realized how complicated Yuro's background was. If it wasn't for the fact that he had some sort of spell formation technique, he would have been devoured long ago in this unknown land. He couldn't tolerate it. The cliff wouldn't be able to bear it. Fuck, then what are we waiting for? These people have made our eldest sister-in-law suffer so badly. They might as well kill them all. Li Yuanba roared, his face full of killing intent. All right, but we don't have to do anything now. It's obvious that this group of idiots will do it themselves. We are reaping the rewards. Long Fei said, and then he moved the power of heaven's gift. Swish. Instantly, an incomparably revered chi spread out in all directions. The faces of the people from divine space immediately changed. Oh no, the ancestor is angry. Pa. This bunch of things are truly courting death. What Yangshu God's tribe, and Yangtian, right now you can't continue to reproduce yourself. The divine spaces people all fiercely faced each other. They were only waiting for Long Fei's order and were about to attack. But if Long Fei did not make a move, they would not dare to exceed their authority. Thus, at this time, within the darkness, Long Fei was in a dilemma. F***ck, these idiots, they're actually waiting for me to attack. Won't we be exposed if we make a move? Long Fei was a little helpless. Long Fei, I can help you. Suddenly, Yuru took a step forward and said, Hey! Long Fei was stunned at first, but soon after, his face brightened. That's right. Even though he was only pretending to have this position, it was still an easy feat for Yuro to obtain the complete strength of Emperor Yang Tian and use it to intimidate the descendants of the Yang God's tribe. Good. Then, if you make a move and directly imprison all of them and then strip them of their power to develop the heavens, all of them will turn into mortals. Long Fei said. Yes. Yuru obediently nodded her head. But in the next moment, as she turned around, the aura on her body abruptly changed. Her hands moved, and an incomparably profound tattoo appeared, directly descending through the boundless darkness. At this time, Long Fei also cooperated and said, By Qi, you'll never understand what it means to be a supreme realm cultivator. Point out the heavens and the earth. Painting prison. Long Fei's voice sounded out, followed by the sound of her voice. Swish. Under the control of Yuru's will, the tattoo turned into a black finger that came crashing down. Suddenly, the entire Yoshan world seemed to be triggered and began to shrink. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. After a continuous contraction, it was constantly annihilated. It was originally an endless world, but in just a breath's time, there was only a tiny bit of it left. Less than 100 miles. It was just as Long Ruo said, to guide the heavens and the earth, drawing a picture of the earth as a prison. And the entire Yang God's tribe was a prison survivor. A single finger. Amazing. The strength of a venerable one is truly unimaginable. Of course, let's see what else these idiots from the God's tribe have to say now. They only dare to leave the existence of the venerable one, they are overestimating themselves. Look quickly, this power is not that simple. These people from the are losing their strength. The people from the Tianyun city and the people from the divine space said with faces full of shock. All of them became even more astonished after the last sentence was spoken. Amidst the astonishment, there was also endless fear. It was because they were afraid. Who would not be afraid of this method of instantly stripping people of their strength? In this world, power was everything. If he were to be deprived of his strength, he could only wait for death. Therefore, this kind of power was completely based on the power of clan extermination. As for Bai Qi, he was completely devoid of blood. He continued to struggle. His heart burned with anxiety as he watched the power within his clansmen disappear. Impossible, this is impossible. This is my clan's power, how can you possibly control it? Depriving blood vein of its power. This is impossible, no one can do it. Bai Qi was on the verge of collapse. Looking at the fading power in his body, he finally accepted his fate. Even if he did not approve of this power, he knew clearly that if he were to continue, there was only one possibility, and that was for the entire Yang clan to be exterminated. Patriarch, let's beg for mercy. Yes, I feel like my power is about to be taken away. Let's beg for mercy. No, please stop. My clan has many sky-seizing masters, they can help you do a lot. Stop. I beg you, do not destroy my Yangtian tribe. They began to beg for forgiveness. Before this sort of absolute power, they could only beg for forgiveness. There was no second choice. In the darkness, Long Fei looked at Yu Ru. Their life and death would be decided with a single thought from Yu Ru. Let's go around them. The culprit right now is only Bai Qi. We only have to kill him. Yu Ru saw the look in Long Fei's eyes and said. Long Fei had already expected that Yu Ru would have this kind of attitude. Long Fei had already expected that Yu Ru would have this kind of attitude. She could not bear to see someone so kind and unrelated to her, not to mention that she was still a member of his clan. All right, you decide on everything. Long Fei said. He didn't think much of these experience points. With the more than 30 billion experience points he needed to level up now, even tens of thousands of experience points wouldn't be enough. Thinking of this, Long Fei stopped. He retracted his finger at the same time, allowing Yuro to retract her strength. All of a sudden, it seemed like the Sky God's tribe had survived a disaster. All of their faces were filled with grief. It was like becoming a slave to a country. However, this kind of result was what they wanted the most. If that wasn't the case, then the only thing waiting for them was death. As for Bai Qi, he didn't say a word. He was extremely resentful in his heart. However, facing the power that could easily crush him, he was not foolish enough to seek his own death. The people from the divine space were also stunned. They did not understand why Long Fei stopped. Jiyu Zun stopped. Is this a chance for us to show off? The members of the Lin and Ju families looked at each other and took a step forward. Jiyu Zun, this Bai Qi. The Ju family member asked. Leave behind the inheritance, kill all the upper echelons of the Yang God's tribe. Long Fei's voice sounded out indifferently. With these words, the fate of the Yang God's tribe was directly set. Hehe, looks like this is our opportunity. Yes, the great honored warrior has personally spoken. This time, we must do it well. Kill. Kill. The two of them glanced at each other, then attacked at the same time. Boop. Boom. The members of the Lin family were of the spiritual immortal legacy. Their skills were profound, and they immediately cast a sky-covering magic. Countless powerful forces of heaven and earth converged in their surroundings, including wind, fire, water, and everything else. As for the Ju family, they too were a part of the ancient inheritance. With a palm strike, the entire world of the Yangshu God's tribe began to collapse once more. No. The Lord of the city has already let us go, you can't do this. We admit defeat, we're really begging for mercy. We are willing to serve as slaves. Master Jiyu, please spare our lives. Shrieks and pleas for mercy filled the air. But no matter if it was the Ju and Lin families, or the God's tribe, they did not care. What they really cared about was their backer. Shua shua shua. Every move was a killing move, strong and powerful, sweeping up an elder of the Yangshu god's tribe, instantly breaking him into pieces, leaving nothing behind. The light from the fire was like a dragon, and the water filled up the sky while lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The attacks of the Lin clan members were decisive and ruthless. Just by turning around, 5 of the elders from the Yang god's tribe had died under his hands. The Zhu family's attack was also extraordinary. With a single palm strike, one of them was bound to be taken away. This was the difference in strength. Long Fei, on the other hand, was enjoying his lamentable experience. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Presbyter of God's tribe Yang. You have obtained 40,000 experience points, 40,000 holy source points, 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Presbyter of God's tribe Yang. You have obtained 620,000 experience points, 60,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! The system continued to function unceasingly. Awesome. One side wants to take your father's strength, the other wants your father's life. If you have enough dog beatings, your father will enjoy the experience. I wonder what kind of expression they'll have when they find out my identity. But you deserve it. If you covet the power on my body, then this day should come. Long Fei looked sour as his experience bar rose by a bit. He felt proud of himself. Of course, these people could no longer produce any treasures or weapons, much less any special rewards. Besides experience, the only thing they had left was the power of the Sky Spill skill, which was directly devoured by the Sky Evolution Beast. Long Fei did not mind. His woman was the great Emperor Yang Tian, a mere Sky Spill? You need to care. There was no need at all. Suddenly, Long Fei felt Yu Ru's body tremble slightly as a complex look appeared in her eyes. Ari, this is the fate that they deserve, do not pity. I won't let anyone who has hurt you get away with it. Long Fei said with a solemn face as he quietly embraced her in his embrace. Yes, Yu Ru said, and did not struggle, allowing Long Fei to carry her in his arms. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Long Fei's eyes contracted as he looked down in disbelief. The boss appeared. An extremely strong light flashed across the sky, directly blocking the Zhu and Lin family members. F***K, people from the Tian clan came so quickly. Long Fei looked at the approaching person, and light flickered in his eyes. Who? The Zhu family members said coldly, their eyes were unkind, and they were displeased with the person who was obstructing their path in front of Long Fei. Do you want to die? You even dare to protect the person that Jiyu Zun wants to kill? The Lin family's powerhouse also stopped. His eyes narrowed as he looked at the Tian family members. Jiyu Zun? I really don't know when an ancient ruler appeared in this world. If you're talking about the ancient Tao, then sorry. I'm afraid that you've already been deceived by others. Because the ancient path has already died, the Tian clan member said. When the voice was heard, everyone looked at him in disbelief. Even Long Fei's heart tightened. But under these circumstances, how could Long Fei possibly admit it? He quickly said, Tian clan? Who gave you the qualifications to dare doubt the real face? Long Fei's voice came out from the dark. But on the other hand, she was informing Li Yuanba, Yu Ru, and the others. My identity has already been exposed. If a big battle breaks out in the future, all of you can leave first. Long Fei said. Boss, what are you saying? With our current strength, do we have to be afraid of them? Fight with them. Li Yuanba had already recovered, and his fighting spirit was high. This time, I can finally help you. Yuro's eyes were soft, but determined. Whoosh. Long Fei took a deep breath. Just as he was about to say something, a voice came from outside. Ha ha ha, acting, you're still pretending? You dog, are you still not going to expose yourself? Do you think you can continue to pretend that I'm here? As the Tian clan member spoke, he took a step forward and was about to step into the darkness. It was at this moment. The Jiyu family's men attacked. The Jiyu clan general slashed out with his spear, blocking his path alone. Impossible, where did you come from? Are you seeking death? Jiyu Zun is right in front of me. You actually said that someone is faking it. What are your intentions? Are you trying to instigate us? They absolutely did not believe the words of the Tian clan members. Because this was a type of hope, and even more so a form of dignity. They saw the ancient elemental Tao as the basis for their clan's rise to power in the divine space, and did not even hesitate to lower themselves to offer it up as flattery. This was a gamble on their dignity. Thus, no matter what, they were unwilling to believe that the person they thought to be their backer simply did not exist. Instead, they had been impersonated by others. Stirred you? You idiots. If my guess is not wrong, the venerable one that you all have always thought is the Long Fei that you all are looking for. For a trash who escaped from the divine space, to actually be revered by you all as a venerable one, you truly are an idiot. As the Tian clan member spoke, he stared at the surroundings with a pair of cold eyes filled with ridicule. As the Tian clan member spoke, he stared at the surroundings with a pair of cold eyes filled with ridicule. Impossible, what are you? How dare you, a member of the Tian clan, doubt us? The Jiyu family member said coldly, looking straight ahead. No, you're overthinking it. I'm not questioning it. I'm just here to pass on a message to you. As for me, if it's me, then I, Tian Lu Hu, will be a type of authority. As Tian Lu Hu spoke, the sunlight froze, and he immediately took out a golden-colored scroll. On the scroll, a majestic royal authority burst forth, and a supreme aura was completely revealed. The Heavenly Emperor's imperial edict has been passed down. Jiyu Xingdao has died. Long Fei committed a great sin and was unpardonable. With this decree, he shall be executed without exception. Tian Lu Hu coldly snorted and tossed the scroll in his hand into the air. In an instant, a chilling aura exuded from these words. A naked killing intent. Not only that, this killing intent contained a sense of majesty that transcended heaven and earth. In an instant, the black curtain covering Long Fei's body was dispersed. He was exposed on the spot. You dog, it's actually you. His real body had been exposed. Long Fei decided not to hide it anymore. The moment this imperial edict appeared, Long Fei had already given up his pretense. This was because the decree contained a transcendent power. That was the power of an honored warrior. Long Fei, it's actually really Long Fei. We've actually been following a trash's orders the entire time. Were we used as guns? The Jiyu, Lin, and Zhu families all looked at Long Fei with faces full of anger. Haha, old bastard, your performance just now was pretty good. I am very satisfied. Seeing that you are all so attentive, I have decided to let you all go. Long Fei laughed. As soon as these words were spoken, the faces of those people became even more full of rage, and their killing intent began to wreak havoc. You dog, I will take your life. The Jiyu family general took the initiative to attack first. He turned the tip of his spear and pierced towards Long Fei. Good job. Long Fei's eyes turned cold. Attack. Bind him. Long Fei said, and instantly prepared himself for battle. Since he had decided to stay and fight, he had nothing to say. Yu Ru, who was at the side, had also been waiting for a while. When Long Fei opened his mouth, his hand immediately drew a profound trajectory. After the trajectory passed, the painting became a prison. The body of the Jiyu family's warlord was imprisoned within a certain range, rendering him unable to move. Open for me. The Jiyu family general madly brandished the long spear in his hand. The long spear in his hand curved into a half moon before thrusting forward abruptly. Clang. However, this time, it was like a clay ox entering the sea, completely unable to shatter this space. Old thing, if you don't have anything to rely on, do you think I would stay and play with you? Now, get on the ground. Long Fei shouted. The great killing weapon in his hand instantly chopped down. Boop. The saber descended, and an incomparably violent force cut into it. The Gu family's general's expression changed drastically as panic flashed through his eyes. He hurriedly used his spear to block again. KCHA. The killing weapon was incomparably sharp, and the Gu family's general was sent flying. Even the spear in his hand broke into 2 pieces. Save me. Being defeated in one move was something that was unfathomable to the Gu family general, but he knew that he was no longer Long Fei's match, so he quickly asked for help. The Zhu and Lin families all looked at each other. They knew that if Long Fei didn't die, it would become their nightmare. It wasn't just them, but their families as well who would fall into a nightmare of endless terror. Heavenly lightning, earth and fire, wind blade, water blade, cut for me. The Lin family had unleashed a spiritual immortal technique. In a split second, layers upon layers of light rays spread out, drowning the shackling power within. At this moment, the Gu family's general was regained his freedom and was saved by them. Let's attack together. His cultivation is merely at the 5th level of the almighty ancient times, so even if his methods are powerful, he would still not be a match for the 3 of us. The Zhu family member said. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them reached an agreement. Not only him, but even the distant Tian Luhu also took a step forward. Lowly thing. You dare to kill a member of the Tian clan? I'll crush you to pieces today. Tian Luhu said as his clothes flapped and shattered into pieces. Pieces of pulsing skin pulsed explosively, filled with explosive power. Boss, leave this big guy to me. Li Yuanbar had long been eager to give it a try. Now that Tian Luhu had come out, Li Yuanbar had a use for it. Okay, but first we have to protect ourselves. This is a boss, I'm going to kill him myself. Long Fei said, his gaze turning towards Li Wuxin. Stay here and don't move. If anything changes, leave immediately. Long Fei said. A battle of this level was no longer something that Li Wuxin could interfere in. The King Kong's cultivation base was already at the 2nd level of the super great complete realm, but the attribute of his strength was extremely violent and his divine strength was unrivaled. Even if he wasn't a match for Tian Luhu, he could still persist for a bit. But right now, Li Wuxin had not awakened anything. If he were to be drawn in, he would be taken away if he were to touch the sideball with his strength. Helplessness flashed through Li Wuxin's eyes. He gave Long Fei a deep look, and as if he had made some huge decision, he said in a deep voice, Boss, you'll be my, Li Wuxin's, boss after this. Li Wuxin said. Long Fei was startled, and nodded slightly. However, he was extremely excited. Ding! Congratulations player Long Fei for completing the quest, capturing the heaven-decimating Emperor's inheritor. Mission score is A class. Task reward, 100 million experience. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the flying immortal Emperor's clue. The system's voice echoed in his ears. But right now, Long Fei did not have the mood to check. With a flip of his hand, he pushed Li Wuxin far away. Turning around, he waved his killing weapon and descended ferociously. At the same time, the power of Yu Ru also erupted, sealing the space around her. The people of the 3 great families of divine space were immediately imprisoned. 3 old things, you 3 are really awesome, chasing me from the divine space to this unknown place. Now, go to hell. Cut it for me. Long Fei thought about the time in his heart. Although Yu Ru's cultivation had reached, she had only just obtained this power and had to use it skillfully. Otherwise, if one of the lines left, the 3 of them would not even be left with a corpse. However, this was already enough for Long Fei. Once their bodies were imprisoned, they could only wait passively. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The long blade broke through the void and heavily smashed into the bodies of the 3 people with a loud bang. Boom, boom, boom. As expected, the 3 figures were directly blasted away. Their HP dropped rapidly and more than half of them were killed. Enough. Death Reaper, 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 leave. Long Fei's mind moved, he did not hold back. The system's ultimate technique, Reaper, 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 Reaper skill, had arrived in an instant. Immediately, the void began to distort as a black shadow appeared from the void, as if it was a divine residence overlooking all living beings. And then, the sickle slashed down. Under this blade, The health of the powerhouse of the three great divine space families immediately fell to the bottom. There was still anger and shock in their eyes, but it was useless. Without any surprise, he collapsed. Ding. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the GU family's general. You have obtained 60,000 experience, 60,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the GU family's general. You have obtained 60,000 experience, 60,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations player on obtaining broken armor spear. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining the armor break. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining the armor. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining broken military boots. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining the army. This was the explosive power of the GU family's generals. The whole set. Long Fei took a quick glance and understood the nature of this set of divine equipment. All in all, it was just 2 words: broken army. A set dropped. Amazing. With this set of divine equipment, even a pig would be able to charge into a battle unstoppable. Long Fei was ecstatic. At that moment, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing a Lin family fairy. You have obtained 580,000 experience points, 58,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining divine lightning. Ding. Congratulations player on obtaining earth fire power. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining hurricane tactic. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining weak water. It was another explosion, a spiritual technique of the same color. Good. This is another F*King large-scale killing technique. In the game, it would be a super powerful group annihilation move. Long Fei's heart was moved again. He felt that today's battle was truly his lucky day. Any random person's methods and abilities would all burst out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ju family elders. You have obtained 750,000 experience points, 75,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations to player 1/3 kills. You have received special reward from the system. The reward is 1 lottery draw. With the third explosion, Long Fei was more or less disappointed. Although the elders of the Ju family were not weak, they did not possess any battle prowess that could be considered to be on par with the world. Thus, the system did not go overboard. However, the fact that he had triggered the system's special reward made Long Fei even more excited. No matter how strong their powers were, could they be more formidable than the products of the system? It doesn't exist. And at this time, Long Fei's triple slash was extremely violent. This included the Qin family in the Unknown Lands, as well as the people from the Tianyun city. One by one, they quietly retreated, wanting to leave this world. Too terrifying. In their eyes, the people from the divine space were already extremely strong, but what was the result? He was actually killed by Long Fei's blade. How could they deal with such a person? Retreat. He had to retreat. Unfortunately, Long Fei would not give them this chance. Imprison all of them. Be it the Qin family or the Tianyun city, they have all hurt you before. These people deserve to die. Long Fei said, his eyes flashed with a cold light. He had already prepared a killing weapon. The power of thunder. The power of earth fire. Kill. This kind of large-scale lethality was a technique, and it just happened to be the right time to use it. Yu also seized the opportunity as the runes in her hand became more and more skilled. An invincible posture appeared on his body. His eyes could see the heavens and earth, and his hands could draw the universe. Whiz. A line fell. Instantly, the ground was drawn back into place. No, it was better to say that it went a step further, directly locking the space between heaven and earth. No, Long Fei, from the beginning to the end, my Qin family and you do not have any deep grudges between us, do not kill me. That's right, Long Fei. Our Qin family still has some status in the divine space. Didn't you want to win the qualification battles? I can make my clan's son of God retreat, and let you achieve your goal directly. Right, my clan is the legacy of Emperor Fang Tian. With such a family as your vassal, wouldn't you be awesome to death? The Qin family didn't even have the courage to act. He pleaded for mercy. But in their hearts, they were secretly thinking that after they left this time, they must expose Long Fei's location, link him to the divine space, and let the people from the Xian nationality come and kill him. Humph. Long Fei snorted coldly, not affected at all. No deep hatred. That day in Thousand Sun City, if it wasn't for the descent of the Lord of Chaos's will, he probably would have met head-on with the Qin clan ancestor. A wolf's ambition, and you say there's no deep hatred between them? Being targeted was the thing that Long Fei could not tolerate the most. Moreover, Long Fei could not be clearer about what these people were thinking. They were just a bunch of dogs. Impossible. Therefore, they had already been on Long Fei's blacklist since a long time ago. What I need your son of God to back down. I will fight for it myself. Therefore, your father will not accept your conditions. Now, go to hell. Long Fei made a move, and the blade that had been brewing for a long time, finally fell. At the same time, Yu Ru's attacks also exploded out. In that instant, the heaven and earth entered the same cage, enveloping the Tianyun city's purple-robed guards and the Qin family. The blade fell without end. Several different types of forces erupted at the same time. Heavenly thunder burst out and descended amidst the blade light. Crackle, crackle, crackle. The lightning that filled the sky penetrated through the armored guards, and they all died on the spot. There was also the eruption of earth fire that was like a gushing spring. The members of the Qin family were also hit and turned into living people. Then there was Long Fei's blade, which had been annihilated under the berserk might of the blade qi. Ding, ding, ding. As expected, his experience began to soar. Long Fei did not know how many purple-robed guards there were in the Tianyun city. However, the experience gained this time around had increased visibly, and along with the few people from the divine space, it had increased by more than 1 billion. Although a few billion experience points were not even worth mentioning compared to the astronomical figure of 30 billion, Long Fei was still very satisfied. Moreover, these were just appetizers. In front of him was another big boss. The Tian clan's warrior, Tian Lu Hu. At this time, Li Yuanba and Tian Lu Hu were frantically fighting. One was nearly 2 meters tall, while the other was 2 meters tall. Although it was not equal, Li Yuanba still did not disappoint him. The repeated assaults didn't have any hint of cowardice at all. Absolutely retreat. It was a head-on clash. Long Fei, he doesn't seem to be that Tian clan member's opponent. Yu Ru said. Long Fei focused his eyes. Li Yuanba had unparalleled divine power, but Tian Luhu was also from the Wild Warrior, so Long Fei had already experienced the power and savagery of the Wild Warrior when he was facing Tian Ba. Not to mention that Tian Luhu's strength was even more overbearing than Tian Bidao's, and even more overbearing. They were on completely different levels. Tian Bidao's cultivation was only at the 7th level of the super perfection. But Tian Luhu was already at the peak of the super perfection. The disparity in cultivation alone wasn't something that strength could compare with, much less the talent of their Berserker tribe. My King Kong will not be defeated that easily. Regardless of whether he is his opponent or not, we must let him fight. Only by doing so can we release the evil intent in our hearts. Long Fei said. Sure enough. Just as Long Fei's voice fell, Li Yuanba instantly exploded in a roar. You must be Warrior Kwong. I'll see how arrogant you are today. Divine power, activate. Li Yuanba's voice was enraged, his veins popped out. Li Yuanba's voice was enraged, his veins popped out. Defense, no need. Just like a battle machine, he raised the axe high up and swung it about crazily. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Boop. Boom. A ray of light from the heavens exploded, and this axe seemed as if it could split the heavens apart. Wherever it went, the killing intent would be endless. Moreover, this was the control of Li Yuanbar's divine power. His divine power was unrivaled and incomparably berserk. There is only one rule in this world: power of cultivation. Li Yuanbar's divine power was similarly a type of most direct display. Of all the things in the world, only power was the true knowledge. If the strength was sufficient, even if it was the sky, it would still be able to pierce a hole. The current Li Yuanbar was using his own strength to proclaim this point, perfectly explaining what true divine power was. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The enormous axe descended, crashing onto Tianlu Hu's body. The gigantic axe blade directly embedded itself into Tianlu Hu's body, blood bubbling out. Insolent. Awesome. If it's not because you, the Kwong warrior, are too awesome, let's continue. Let's see who is more arrogant. So what if he's strong? Li Yuanbar glared furiously, spitting out the flames of anger in his heart. In the previous battle, he was too oppressed. He was being completely suppressed. Now, he had the chance to vent the anger in his heart and have a hearty battle. There were no reservations at all. Not good, Yuan Ba, quickly dodge. But right at that moment, Long Fei's voice suddenly came out. At the same time, Yuru also took action immediately. A surge of energy descended, attempting to imprison Tianlu Hu. But in the end, it was too late. When Li Yuanbar reacted, all he saw was darkness, and a gigantic figure instantly appeared in front of him. Damn it! Li Yuanbar didn't even have the time to pull out his axe. He turned and retreated. As if he had gone mad, Tianlu Hu's body turned into that of a giant. He was originally almost 20 feet tall, but at this moment, he instantly broke through 100 feet like a giant mountain. His entire body's aura exploded. It was almost madness. Tianlu Hu's eyes were flooded with anger as he reached out to remove the axe Li Yuanbar left behind. Looking at the blood that continuously flowed down, the corner of his mouth revealed a sinister smile. You dare to hurt me? A reptilian existence still dares to harm me? Today, I'll let you know what a true berserk warrior is, Tianlu Hu said as he took a step forward. Boom. The earth cracked and the mountains crumbled. Li Yuanbar's figure was instantly shaken by this enormous power and flew more than 50 kilometers away. Long Fei and Yu Ru's figures disappeared in an instant and reappeared beside Li Yuanbar. Boss, this guy is so strong. Li Yuanbar wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with a heavy expression. Long Fei's eyes darkened as well. This fellow was too strong. Peak of great complete realm, berserk transformation. He had completely raised his strength to the limit. This was a pure power. Unlike the heavenly curtain technique of the ancient Tao, it was incomparably mysterious. Tianlu Hu's strength could only be described with one word: tyrannical. Each movement carried with it the power to topple the heavens and overturn the seas. Is your strength confident that you can control him? Long Fei asked. He had still underestimated the strength of the Tian clan. When facing Tian Ba, the Tian clan didn't even have such methods. But from the looks of it, Li Yuanbar was completely not a match for him. I'm not confident. I can feel that there is still power in my body that has yet to be refined. Now that I'm at the great circle of cultivation, it's not enough to unleash the power of the sky spill. Yu Ru's face was filled with vexation, as though because she could not help Long Fei right now, she felt extremely vexed. Sad. Don't worry, your power has just awakened, it's normal for you to be unable to use it. Leave the rest to me. Long Fei said calmly. It was imperative that they did not have much choice. Or he could just leave. Or stay and do it. With his current abilities and background, it was not difficult for him to leave. However, Long Fei was not willing to waste such a huge boss. Especially since this fellow had the strength to fight like a madman. When Tianlu Hu's body had already exploded out, Long Fei was already prepared to give it to Li Yuanbar. But now, he could feel the strength from Tianlu Hu's body. Long Fei decisively gave up his original plan. Long Fei didn't want to restrict Li Yuanbar's footsteps, so if possible, he naturally had to make it fuse with his strongest power. Therefore, Tianlu Hu was his best choice. The Land Rover is overbearing. Your Tian clan is really awesome. But unfortunately, I don't care what you are. I only support domestically made products. So today, I did it. Long Fei steeled his eyes and made his decision. He even dared to go up against a heaven's godly mage. What was there to fear from a berserk Tian clan boss? Moreover, Li Yuanba had done too much for him. From the god's martial continent to now, he had only provoked him on the brink of death countless of times. If this power could allow Li Yuanba to take another step forward, Long Fei would not hesitate to do so. Boo! It was also at this moment that Tian Luhu's figure appeared in front of them once more. Run, a weak chicken is a weak chicken, trash is trash. I really wonder how a piece of trash like Jiu Xing was killed by a piece of trash like you. However, your luck ends here. From the moment I went berserk, your life has already entered the countdown. Arrogant god force, chaotic storm hand. Tian Luhu advanced at an extremely fast speed as his right hand pushed out with a palm. Boo! In that moment, Long Fei felt his heart clench, as though the sky was falling and the earth was falling, a huge pressure was pressing down. Level 8 burst. Long Fei then threw out a punch, which collided with the palm above his head. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A huge explosion resounded throughout the world. However, this palm did not dissipate. Illusionary. Long Fei paused, and without waiting for more words, the god of heaven fanaticism directly appeared in his hands. Heavenly lightning, earth and fire, weak water hurricane. He slashed out 4 times. The saber blade contained a berserk spiritual immortal power, resplendent in the void. It's useless. I've already said this before. The moment I activated my berserk transformation, your lives have already entered the countdown. Right now, it's just a useless struggle. In the end, only death awaits me. Tian Lu, who did not dodge and met Long Fei's power head-on. With 4 loud bangs, Long Fei's 4 blades were directly blocked by Tian Luhu's fleshly body, and simply did not receive any substantial damage. F***CK, is this still a boss? This is heaven defying. Long Fei took a step back as his gaze locked onto Tian Luhu. At this moment, the boss stats had already been displayed on Tian Luhu's body. Health, 5 billion. Attack, 10 stars. Strength, berserk description. The power of the berserk warrior can temporarily increase your cultivation by 1 level. Duration, 10 minutes. Long Fei was stunned. Looking at Tian Lu, who was of this type, he was a little speechless. Weaknesses? There was no description at all. One had to know that Tian Luhu's cultivation was originally at the 9th level of the super perfection. Now that he had increased a level, even without the power of divine gift, his cultivation had already far surpassed the average 9th level of the perfect stage. Heaven defying. Heaven defying. This was truly a heaven defying boss. This kind of attribute, heaven defying health point, heaven defying attack, and heaven defying strength, unless it was able to endure for more than 10 minutes, it would be difficult to break through. But now, to Long Fei. What he lacked the most was time. The imperial edict of the Empyrean God Kingdom had arrived just now. Most likely, he would be wanted within a radius of 10 million kilometers. With every passing minute, his danger increased. What should we do? Do you want to fight? A trace of doubt rose in Long Fei's heart. If it was him, he would not hesitate at all. But right now, he still had his own brothers and women behind him. If anything went wrong, they would be in danger, and Long Fei absolutely did not want to see this scene. However, the stronger the boss was, the more terrifying the drop rate. Long Fei was extremely dissatisfied in his heart. Boss, what are you afraid of? Isn't it just a boss? Grinding can also grind him to death. Seeing Long Fei hesitate, Li Yuanba immediately stood up and said. He understood Long Fei too well. Even if he was suspicious, his eyes still held boundless desire. It could be seen that if Tian Luhu did not die, Long Fei would not be willing to give up. Tian Luhu's condition isn't too stable. Berserk isn't absolute. He only has 10 minutes. In other words, if we can last 10 minutes, we'll have a chance to kill him. Long Fei said as he looked at the two of them. This was tantamount to telling the two of them their own attitudes. It was up to them to decide whether to fight or not. Boss, there's nothing to consider. Let's do it. Leave it to me in 10 minutes. I'll carry it. You go and kill them. Just as Long Fei's voice fell, he said this. He had absolute trust in Long Fei. This kind of determination, to be willing to gamble with his own life, to let Long Fei have what he wanted, was unquestionable. Long Fei's heart warmed, and he immediately shook his head. You can't take it. This guy's strength is completely heaven-defying. Long Fei said, his eyes showing signs of retreat. After experiencing so much, what he ultimately wanted was to protect, not put those he cared about in danger. Even if there was only a possibility, Long Fei did not want to take the risk. Long Fei, I can create a virtual world. It should be able to last for 10 minutes. At this moment, Yu spoke. Joy appeared in Long Fei's eyes. As long as he could endure for 10 minutes, the Tian Lu who before him would not be a threat in his eyes at all. At the very least, it was no longer a heaven-defying attribute like it was now. Are you sure? Long Fei asked as he turned around to look at Tian Lu who was only a few kilometers away from him. It's too late. Whether I'm confident or not, I have to give it a try. With determination in her eyes, Yu said this in a heavy tone, and then the power of the sky evolution in her hand appeared once more. Shua shua shua. A moment ago, several hundred lines had appeared out of thin air, as if they had come from nowhere. Long Fei moved his idea and with a wave of his hand, he brought Li Wuxin to his side. And in that instant, Long Fei only felt a flash before his eyes, and everything around him had changed. A new world. Whoosh. Yuru's face was pale, and she was breathing heavily. It was as if condensing this new world consumed a lot of her energy. Ru'er, how are you? Long Fei immediately went forward, his eyes full of self-blame. I'm fine, it's just that this is the first time I'm using this kind of power, so my strength is a bit lacking. Yu gritted her teeth and said, not wanting Long Fei to be distracted at this moment. Master, don't worry. Right now, the power within her is even more formidable than that of Yang Tian. It's just that she has just been refined and is not yet ready to be used by herself. At this time, the voice of the Sky Evolution Beast suddenly came to Long Fei's mind. Sky Spill Beast. Long Fei's eyes lit up. How could he forget about this big guy? Back then in the Sky Spill secret world, even if he had used the Heavenly God Fanatic, it wouldn't have caused him any real harm. If he had to drag it out, even Tian Luhu would only be a piece of cake, like scratching an itch. Sky Spill Beast, I'll take you out to play? Long Fei said. This won't do, Master. That fellow outside is too strong, and I'm not inside the Yang Tian world. The Yang Tian world that Master and Mother created isn't strong enough to support me using my power. If I were to be dragged out, I would be beaten up in a matter of seconds. A sieve. The Sky Spill Beast hurriedly refused. The moment Long Fei opened his mouth, he immediately guessed Long Fei's thoughts, and he was so frightened that he did not dare say a single word. Long Fei's eyes instantly turned cold. Why do I feel like each of my war pet is so King immoral? When it comes to dividing things, each one is more joyful than the other. Whenever there's danger, the other is more cowardly. Long Fei secretly thought of Xiao Bai and ice and fire. But this was only a curse, because regardless of whether it was Xiao Bai or Bing Hua, they were both his brothers. Including the Sky Evolution Beast in front of him, if it was really in danger, Long Fei would rather face it himself. Long Fei retracted his consciousness, and looked at Yu. Don't try to be brave. If you can't hold on any longer, remember to leave in time. Long Fei said. But as soon as his voice fell, a strange pressure appeared out of nowhere. It was as if a power that didn't belong to this world had seeped in. Subsequently, a burst of wild laughter sounded. Ha ha ha, Long Fei, you little bastard, have you forgotten my existence? You really do know the great secret of our Yangtian race. You're actually able to set up a world of the Yangtian world. What a pity. Have you forgotten that I'm also a member of the Yang world? In the past, I had also controlled the Sky Spill secret world. There is no one in this world who knows this kind of power better than me. Long Fei, die. The voices sounded again and again. However, every word was filled with hatred towards Long Fei. Long Fei's face turned cold as his killing intent surged. You dog, if I had known, I would have killed you. The anger in Long Fei's heart flared up, and his hatred towards her soared to the skies. That's right, this person was Bai Qi. Right now, this kind of pressure was coming from Bai Qi. Rumble, rumble, rumble. What followed was the turmoil and unease of the entire derivative world. Puff. Yu Ru immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. In itself, condensing this space had already consumed a great deal of energy. Now that the power of the Sky Spill was being affected by Bai Qi, his eyes dimmed, and he no longer had the strength to withstand it. Following which, the entire space collapsed. In less than a minute, it had completely dissipated. Sorry Long Fei, I didn't do it, I'm so useless. Tears were flashing in her eyes. Seeing this scene, the anger in Long Fei's heart could no longer be suppressed. It's fine, I didn't think it through. Don't worry, none of them will survive. Bai Qi, I'll make you die. Crazy. Berserk mode. Do you think I don't have any tricks? The God of Heaven madman was still in the process of cooling down. No, that won't do. The conditions for using Reaper were too harsh. It was impossible to move. The power of Heaven's bestowal simply didn't have the qualifications. But so what? Crazy, lousy knows it too. When I go crazy, even I'm scared. Madness required capital. Madness required capital. Tian Lu, who had gone berserk and obtained incomparable strength. This kind of power looked down on all beneath the heavens. But to Long Fei, this kind of madness was not enough. This was because he too had his own methods. It was enough to make the whole world go crazy. Come on, we might as well go crazy for once. Long Batian, the Heavenly Empire, and behind the system, no matter who you are, you have already made a decision. Long Fei clenched his teeth and said. Along the way, Long Fei had long known about many secrets. Long Batian was scheming against himself, and the system was even more mysterious, he couldn't find any clues. He was too tired. Especially now, this kind of situation where everyone was an enemy every time he raised his gaze, made Long Fei feel even more exhausted. He was on the verge of going crazy. Long Batian, didn't you always want me to use my third use of the pubes's power? Then come. Let's see who's crazier than insanity. Red lines of blood slowly spread out from Long Fei's eyes. Below, Li Yuanba saw Long Fei's slowly changing expression. Boss, what are you doing? Li Yuanba asked anxiously. Based on his understanding of Long Fei, he knew that Long Fei definitely wanted to go all out. Furthermore, given the distance between Long Fei and them, they were even more certain that Long Fei did not want to implicate them. What are you doing? Kill them all, of course. Long Fei replied with endless savagery and killing intent. It was like the madness in his bones had been ignited. That would be doing it. Regardless of the result, regardless of the damage, just one word was enough. Kill us all. Long Fei, you still dare to say such arrogant words, I really don't know who gave you the courage to do so. Do you think just saying a few harsh words can change the outcome? Too naive. In front of my berserk transformation power, other than the S of the honorable rank, everything else is trash. As for you, you are an ant among dregs. You can be destroyed with a flick of a finger. Tian Luhu was still gradually moving forward, crossing hundreds of kilometers in one step. As long as he took 2 more steps, he would arrive in front of Long Fei. Long Fei ignored him and looked at Li Yuanba. Yuan Ba, take good care of them. Long Fei said, then decisively cut off all his senses. And the others could only roar crazily in the west while remaining indifferent. At this time, Li Yuanba already looked like a mad demon, his tiger eyes opened wide in anger, and wanted to attack again and again. However, He was held back by Li Wuxin. Don't be crazy. I believe boss will definitely survive. Li Wuxin's eyes were also filled with a deep sense of helplessness as she clenched her fists so tightly that her nails dug into her flesh. But at the moment he remained calm. He knew that Long Fei was definitely preparing an extremely powerful technique. At this time, all they could do was to remain calm and not distract Long Fei. Calm down, how can I calm down? The boss is trying his best, can't you see? It's all my fault. If I hadn't stimulated this guy to go berserk, we should have been able to escape by now. It's all my fault, we should have escaped. It might be safe already. Li Yuanbar continuously shook his head, sinking into a deep state of self-blame. A punch. Li Yuanbar smashed onto the ground heavily. Goop! The chaotic world flew in the air, and countless pieces of broken stones were scattered to the surroundings. It could be seen how angry he was in his heart. Yuan Ba, you have to believe in Long Fei. I believe that he, my man, will definitely not disappoint us. I've never done it before, and this time, it's the same. Yu Ru's eyes were filled with confusion as well as helplessness and regret. It was as if he felt very uncomfortable being unable to help Long Fei right now. But he knew that right now, all they could do was to keep Li Wuxin's words quiet and not distract Long Fei. If they had acted rashly, other than some sort of accident, they would have wasted Long Fei's effort. At this time, in the void, Long Fei was already summoning Long Batian. Brat, have you decided? This is your last chance. If you use the pubes' power this time and finish the contract, I'll harvest you from your body. It's the most important thing to you. When the time comes, you will disappear. Have completely disappeared from this world and there are no longer any traces of its existence. Long Batian's voice came out from the dragon's scale. Where did all this nonsense come from? Weren't you waiting for all this time? What, now that your father's as you wish, are you scared again? Long Fei sneered. Afraid? Your father will be afraid. Since you want to die, then what else do I have to say? Kid, enjoy your last bit of madness. I will let you kill your way to an unknown place and tremble. Long Batian's voice sounded again. The corner of Long Fei's mouth moved, it was incomparably cold. Did he kill to the point where the heaven and earth trembled? Perfect. In any case, it was just as Long Batian said, this might be the last step. Come on, I don't care if you are tyrannical or not, since today is the day, if I don't destroy you guys, I will not be Long Fei. In an instant, the aura on Long Fei's body changed. The pubes' power was activated. The dragon's scale began to tremble as the dragon squamous boundaries power erupted. The power of one ancient power after another began to converge. Long Fei could already feel that the power of the dragon squamous boundary had appeared. The interplanar power of all the ancient powers was beginning to flow together. His body was like a huge container. A container that carries these forces. Come at me. Even if I die, this time, I will turn the primal chaos upside down. I wonder what the result will be. F***ck it, let's talk after it feels good. Long Fei was hysterical, his eyes blazing with fire of madness. At this time, Tian Luhu had also arrived in front of Long Fei. However, it is still the power of an almighty being. Even if he is a bit stronger, so what? Hopefully with just this bit of strength, he will be able to save you. Impossible. Die. Boop. Tian Luhu punched out with a violent force that seemed to crush the air. But very quickly, Tian Luhu discovered that the situation wasn't right, because Long Fei seemed to have gone stupid, and didn't dodge or evade. Boss, quickly dodge it. Long Fei. Boss. In the west, Euro and the others were all moved. Master, quickly stop, the pubes' power cannot be used any longer. In the space, Long Quang also opened his mouth in panic. Master. No. Master, stop. The Tong Tian Vine and the Flower Fairy also opened their mouths, their voices were filled with sobs, as though they were about to cry. Long Fei ignored him and cut the contact. But in his heart, he was saying I'm sorry. Now that he used the pubes' power, Long Fei really did not know what would happen. If it was really as Long Batian had said, it would disappear. Where would they go in that space? Long Fei didn't know, but he couldn't think too much into it. Because at this moment, the first plane of power had already been linked, and Long Fei's eyes had also instantly turned dark gold. His eyes twinkled and a dark golden light shone in them. His eyes twinkled and a dark golden light shone in them. Soon after, Long Fei's eyes became like a gate. A golden light shot out. In an instant, a destructive force exploded from Long Fei's body. The power of an ancient supreme elder erupted in an instant, drowning out the unknown in the primal chaos and the 9 heavens. It was incomparably terrifying. This time, the power was even more violent than the last time he used the power of the pubes. Last time, he was only at the first stage of the ancient realm. But now, he was already at the 5th level of an ancient supreme elder. Therefore, the connection between the power of the plane and the plane was much closer and more real. It was as if true power had appeared and poured into Long Fei's body. Now, who do you think died? Long Fei looked up, and a gold light shot out. Tian Luhu, who was hastily advancing in order to give Long Fei a fatal blow, suddenly stopped in his tracks under this cold gaze. His face immediately turned pale white. This gaze actually made him feel afraid. He could feel a power that could shake heaven and earth being generated from Long Fei's body. This power. Tian Luhu hesitated. A feeling of imminent death arose in his heart. A strong feeling told him that if he continued to walk forward, he would die. 1 breath, 2 breaths. In just 2 breaths of time, Tian Luhu made his decision. Retreat. He had to retreat. He did not hesitate as he turned around and left without another word. But how could Long Fei allow him to do so? This final time around, the pubes' power had already been activated and was frantically circulating. He could even feel the power of millions upon millions of ancient supreme elders starting to erupt from the pubes. In addition, the number of people continued to increase. This was the power of his pubes, the power of countless planes, the power of all the almighty experts of the primordial era at the 5th level. Can't a single person kill you? What about 10, 100, 10,000, 100 million? Most likely, even the unknown places in the primordial chaos wouldn't be able to withstand this sort of power. You want to leave? Too late. King finished acting cool and put me in a difficult position. Now you want to leave? How could there be such a good thing? Long Fei's eyes were filled with killing intent. The dark golden light shone out from his mouth once again. At this moment, no one could stop him. Tian Luhu would die, Bai Qi would die, and if possible, Long Fei would even want to rob the entire unknown land. Puff! A golden light flashed as it pierced through the distance of several dozen li, directly forming a circular arc and sweeping over like a blade. Tian Luhu had no time to dodge at all. The light fell on his back. KCHA. Insert card. The sound of ribs breaking could be heard. Even if Tian Luhu had activated berserking, in the face of the strength displayed by Long Fei, it was basically not worth mentioning. Boom. Tian Lu, whose body heavily fell into the air. Long Fei's figure also followed along. Aren't you invincible? Isn't it all second under your position? Come on, keep calling. With every step Long Fei took, a strand of energy would rise. Everywhere it went, all existence in the world would turn into ashes. Tian Luhu continued to retreat explosively. Under Long Fei's attack, the wild strength of his heavy body continued to weaken. In less than 10 minutes, the berserk energy disappeared without a trace. Long Fei, stop. There's still room for compromise if you stop now. We, the Tian clan, can use our influence to make the Celestial Emperor rescind the bounty on you. Let me go, I will give you glory and riches, and let you become a general of the Heavenly Empire, commanding the 3 armies. Otherwise, not only will you face the Sky Empire's arrest warrant, you will also face the pursuit from my Tian clan's powerhouse until this day. Tian Luhu threatened in a low voice. Think of your woman, think of your brother, What can you do by yourself? I heard that you accepted a trash from the Li clan as your subordinate. If you dare to hurt me, I can guarantee that his mother will become one of the wealthiest families in the empire. On the contrary, if you release me, I will guarantee that they will be safe and sound, and even help your brothers take revenge. Tian Luhu said with an incomparably sinister expression. However, when Long Fei heard these words, he was slightly stunned. Heh! Long Fei sneered. He still dares to threaten me even now. I'm afraid you've lost your mind. Do you think you can get any news? Long Fei sneered, his killing intent became even stronger. Even now, he still dared to use his own woman and brother to threaten him. How could Long Fei let him go? While he was thinking, Long Fei took another step forward. But at this time, his step was like a trampling of the ninth heaven, incomparably imposing and heavy. A single breath made it difficult for Tian Luhu to breathe. No, impossible. How could such a powerful power exist between heaven and earth? Not even celestial emperors have such a presence. You have surpassed the status of a divine body. You are courting death. Tian Lu, whose eyes were already filled with terror from the suppression. A flustered comparison. Death was one step closer to him. For the first time, he felt that death was so close to him. Don't you know me well? Don't you know that this daddy inherited Long Baishan's power? Haha, too bad, none of you will get it. Long Fei laughed, his eyes revealing a tragic look. Go to hell. Long Fei suddenly attacked without hesitation, the immense power of the plane surging and rampaging within the pubes. At this moment, he only had one thought in mind, and that was to kill. Xian nationality blocking the way, kill. Sky Empire encirclement, kill. Long Batian. Heavenly Emperor Xian and the controls behind the system. Kill. Long Fei's face was blood-red, as if he had completely changed into a different person. He was like a mad demon, mad to the extreme. Endless scarlet appeared from the depths of his eyes, interweaving together with his dark golden pupils. He was like a peerless god of slaughter descending to take someone's life. In the midst of this explosive power, it was as if doomsday had arrived for the entire world. The entire sky was enveloped by Long Fei's power, which slowly extended for millions of kilometers. The apocalypse had arrived, and the killing intent was raging. No, Long Fei, stop, you stop. I know I was wrong. Don't come back, spare my life, I'm willing to be your dog. Let me go, let me go. Tian Luhu began to madly howl like a wild dog as he lay prostrate on the ground. He didn't even have the courage to raise his head. Unfortunately, Long Fei didn't give him the chance. Just now you said that since you went berserk, our lives have entered the countdown. Now, your father's words shall be returned to you. When your father began to go crazy, your life was already destined to come to an end. No accidents, no obstructions. Long Fei enunciated each and every word with madness. Swish. A wave of energy erupted and swept across, directly drowning Tian Luhu's figure. Endless power exploded as it swept through everything. Endless power exploded as it swept through everything. Everything within 1,000,000 kilometers was influenced by this power. Whoosh. It was like a plague breaking out, continuing to spread. In the Tianyun city. Heavens, what kind of power is this? Is the Bedlam lands going to be thrown into chaos? This isn't good. This power is so terrifying, and it contains endless mad killing intent. Quickly dodge. So ruthless, who is this? Could it be that he wants to destroy the Tianyun city? Somewhere. Run. Such intense hostility. Just who is it? This won't do. This power is still accumulating and spreading. When it erupts, we might not be able to survive. Heavens! Could it be that this great devil was suppressed by the Lord of Primal Chaos all those years ago? Is this going to be the end of the world? Panic, fear, panic. Many negative emotions spread to the minds of the people in the Bedlam lands. They looked at the violent forces that filled the air, and all of their faces were ashen, as if they were covered in death itself. Within the Sky Empire. above the 9 dragons' courtyard of the Heavenly Emperor. What a long fei, what a great inheritance. Qin Xian, you were right after all. This kind of berserk power is something that only an existence like Long Batian can do. But sadly, using this power, a mere Long Fei's cultivation won't be able to take it. As the Celestial Emperor spoke, his eyes flickered. Men, control the Tian Yun city. As the Celestial Emperor spoke, he flung his imperial purple robe, giving off a supreme sense of dignity that intimidated the imperial court. Su su su. Countless people directly lowered their heads, extremely obedient. Roar. Roar. Right at this moment, dragon roars resounded throughout the 9 heavens as the 9 dragons were pulled out and cast away, hovering in the air. The Heavenly Emperor's body moved, flying up. In the blink of an eye, he sank into the air. The people in the imperial court also used their own methods to follow. On the other side, a figure slowly emerged from the endless sea of chaotic clouds. Damn it, you're using that power again. Boy, do you not want to live anymore? No, this isn't the time. Something must not happen to him. As the figure spoke, his eyes flashed, and he too disappeared from the world. At this time, Long Fei was there. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tian Lu Hu. You have obtained 18 million experience points, 180,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining Berserk Mind. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining the power of Berserk God. Ding. Congratulations player on obtaining Blood God's Berserk. The system's voice appeared. It was a complete explosion. Compared to Tian Badao, it was like comparing heaven and earth. But Long Fei did not care about it at all. In other words, he did not hear this voice at all. At this time, Long Fei felt that his pubes was like a hot air balloon, and its power had already expanded rapidly. There was still nothing else in her consciousness. There were only 3 words. Kill. 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 It was as if he was filled with killing intent. Brat, go crazy. Since this is the last time, I might as well go completely crazy and turn this chaotic place upside down. Within the spatial dragon's scale, Long Batian's voice carried some malevolence and anticipation. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes moved. Hatred grew. Long Batian. Long Fei muttered to himself. His voice was hoarse, like iron rubbing against each other, causing fear in the hearts of others. Kid, you are already powerless to turn around. The boundary has already erupted and the power of the plane has been completely extradited. Even if you're not completely done yet, it's enough for me. Leave the rest to me. If you don't have a way out, I'll let you walk down the path. Long Batian said. Do you want to go down instead of me? Hearing that, the anger in Long Fei's eyes became even stronger. But there was nothing to be done. The berserk level of the pubes' power was no longer within his control. Even had a feeling that this would be the last time he would go crazy. After the madness, the pubes' power would disappear and he would truly die. Am I going to die? Haha, that's good too. I'm finally free. But sadly, I let all of you who schemed against me continue living. Long Fei thought helplessly in his heart. But in the next moment, this emotion was suppressed by Long Fei. Life and death it had long since become dull. Since this was the last time he was going crazy, he had to face himself. Bai Qi, you're next. Long Fei abandoned the unnecessary thoughts in his heart, and his gaze moved to lock onto Bai Qi. Long Fei, Lord Long, Master Long, don't kill me. I am a dog, a stupid dog. Let me go, let me go. Bai Qi fell, rolled, and crawled. But when Long Fei's strength exploded, its speed had long since exceeded his expectations, and it could travel far and wide in an instant. The instant Long Fei's voice fell, killing intent exploded from him. Swish. The roiling power of the plane swept away the clouds, completely engulfing Bai Qi's body within it. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Bai Qi. You have obtained 800,000 experience, 800,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Nothing else exploded. Long Fei's gaze turned. Long Batian, how long can the pubes last? Long Fei asked. At this time, The relationship between him and Long Batian was very subtle, as though one was the creditor and the other was the debtor. Long Batian was waiting for Long Fei to exhaust all of the pubes' strength this time, complete the contract, and then harvest the thing he hoped for from his body. Long Fei, on the other hand, wanted to use this final burst of contract power to kill as much as possible. For example, the Qin family. For example, the Sky Empire. The world was not kind to him, so there was no need for him to have good thoughts. If these people did not die, they would be a threat to Li Yuanba and the others. Therefore, right now, Long Fei was thinking of going crazy again. Boy, after following you for so long, this time, I shall satisfy you. Before the dragon's scale is completely shattered, you can call upon the power of the plane you wish. As long as the dragon's scales remain intact, you can enjoy yourself to your heart's content. Long Batian said. All right. Long Fei responded indifferently. His gaze moved, and then, with a casual movement, he threw the 3 kinds of berserk energy that had exploded out of Qianluhu's body to Li Yuanba. Yuanba, you guys leave first. Protect them until I return. Long Fei said calmly. But the more it was like this, the more Li Yuanba and the others felt uneasy. Boss, what are you going to do? Boss, stop. Don't be impulsive. Li Yuanba and Li Wuxin said. Long Fei, stop. We don't want anything anymore. When my powers awaken, I will create a world, and we will live the rest of our lives peacefully. Yuru wailed and wailed while shaking her head. She was unable to control her emotions, and tears started streaming down her face. Long Fei smiled lightly and mouthed 3 words to Yuru. Then he turned around, still in shock, turning into a beam of light and disappearing into the endless void. And the berserk pubes' power disappeared along with it. Moments later, in Thousand Sun City, Long Fei proudly stood in the air, and pushed down with both his hands. In the Bedlam lands, go berserk. Chaos riots. Chaos riots. Following Long Fei's berserk, a chaotic scene occurred. This world harbored malice towards Long Fei. While the pubes' power was still present, what Long Fei wanted to do was destroy it. Annihilate everything. To destroy this unkind world, to wipe out all those who wished to kill him. Qin clan, ancestral grounds. As the members of the Qin clan stared at the endless waves of berserk energy descending from the sky, the silhouettes of people flew out from their homes one after another. Without exception, the faces of the Qin clan's ancestor and the Qin clan's elder all became gloomy. Sir, we have no grievances or hatred. Why are you targeting our Qin family? The Qin clan patriarch said in a deep voice. This aura was full of killing intent. Even he himself felt that he was unable to defeat it. He was far more than unstoppable. They were completely unable to contend with him. Before Long Fei had descended, the aura had spread out, causing them to panic. Now, with Long Fei in the middle of this power and landing in the sky above the Qin family, his intentions could not be any clearer. It was coming straight for their Qin family. At this moment, the entire Qin clan was enveloped in death. Long Fei remained silent and did not move. Brat, let's fight. Since it is the final madness, we might as well be more thorough. This kind of trash exists. It will be destroyed in the blink of an eye. Or, I can control this power and help you eliminate the enemies of the heavens. Long Batian's voice appeared from the dragon's scale. He was still bewitching Long Fei so that Long Fei could take action as soon as possible so that the dragon's scale could be completely destroyed. Long Fei did not move. Naturally, the Qin family had to be exterminated. But the moment Long Batian opened his mouth, Long Fei felt a bit of panic. Right, Long Batian was panicking. It was as if something was affecting him, causing him to feel a sense of urgency so that Long Fei could act as soon as possible. Are you afraid? Long Fei asked with a cold look in his eyes. Ha ha ha, afraid? Am I afraid? It's just that your current cowardly look disgusts this, Daddy. What is strength used for? Of course it's for crushing others. Look, these people had wanted to make a move on you before. The Qin family and the Sky Empire, These people are just a bunch of trash with the power to destroy the world. Don't you want to kill them? Long Fei, you really make me look down on you. Long Batian said. Ha! Long Fei sneered. If you had said those words when I was just ignited by this power, I might have ignored everything and fallen into a frenzy of killing. But now, Long Batian, don't you think that you talked too much? Normally, I would be so awesome that I'd be able to ignore all of it, but now, I can't stop beeping. You dare to say that, don't you have any concerns? Long Fei muttered to himself, enunciating every word. Indeed, after these words, Long Batian fell into deep thought. Not a word. It was as if his face had been punctured, leaving him no face to face. After a long time, a crisp sound suddenly erupted. The dragon's scales had split open. On the original foundation, another huge crack had appeared, shocking everyone. There was only a little bit left of the two of them, and it seemed as if they would break at any moment. Long Fei knew that this was an inevitable result from the activation of the pubes' power. At the same time, Long Batian's arrogant laughter appeared again. Ha ha ha, it's too late. Kid, you still have a choice. Do you want to enjoy the final slaughter? If you want, I'll help you. Anyway, the results are now irreversible. The dragon's scale is going to crack. The contract's power has been activated. Long Fei, you no longer have the chance. Long Batian laughed wildly, like a hunter waiting for an opportunity, waiting for the harvest time. Long Fei's eyes froze as he sensed the change in the dragon's scale in his body. Long Fei ignored him. When he decided to use this power, Long Fei had already known the outcome. The reason why he had passed this period of time was because he wanted to know what exactly Long Batian was plotting. But now, nothing was found out. But now, Long Fei had to make a choice. He had to fight. Soon after, Long Fei's eyes turned and looked at the Qin family. Very powerful. Not to mention the Qin clan ancestor, he was already at the peak of the super great complete realm. Even the elders of the Qin clan were at the 6th, and 7th level of the super great complete realm. To Long Fei, it would be a wave of experience. What a pity. Was experience still meaningful to the current him? Long Fei shook his head, calming himself down. Kill. Long Fei's eyes turned cold, and gave up all distracting thoughts. Long Fei had never been a person who feared trouble. With the opportunity he had now, he would be able to kill to his heart's content and never let go. Of course, most of the reason was to make a path for Li Yuanba and the others. Instantly, and the idea moved. The power within the pubes no longer suffocated it and exploded out in an instant. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A tremendous power exploded out from Long Fei's body like a tidal wave, crashing heavily down towards the Qin family. Boop. The power of countless planes was congealing, as though trillions of ancient supreme experts had actually congealed. They wielded their powers as they blended together, eventually converging into a huge fist. Boom. The mountains began to crumble and the buildings to collapse. It was just the heavy equipment of his aura, but it was already so terrifying. The members of the Qin family had their heads blown off. Aside from the Qin clan ancestor and a few of the most powerful individuals, they were already continuously retreating. At this time, they had no other choice but to retreat. Ancestor, this won't do. This power is not something that we can withstand. Before it even landed, I could already feel that my courage had been broken. You are the one who broke the gallbladder, my bile is all over the floor. No, I can't take it at all. You guys hold on first, I have to run for my life. A few elders of the Qin clan spoke, their faces filled with difficulty. No, this person clearly wants to destroy our Qin family. We must preserve the family's strength for the rest of our lives. What's more, my son has already said that the emperor has already arrived. When the time comes, no matter who the thief is, he will die without a doubt. Ah, the personal attack of the celestial emperor? That's great. In that case, we can be saved. When the Qin clan elder heard the words of the Qin clan ancestor, it was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. The fear in his eyes subsided, becoming more sinister. What's there to be afraid of? Although this power is violent, with the strength of the few of us here, it might not be enough to last for a while. Right, everyone attack together. No matter how berserk this power is, I don't believe that it will be able to instantly kill us. At this moment, the people from the Qin family were united against a common enemy, but no one noticed that a sinister smile flashed across the Zhao family's old ancestor's face. However, it was well concealed. Shortly after, his face darkened and he said, "Good, as expected of the pillars of our Qin family. Quickly attack, we will resist together." The Qin clan patriarch said. The eyes of the elders from the Qin family swept across, and they were the first to attack, rushing towards the power that Long Fei had exploded forth. But just as he was about to make contact with the punch, their pupils instantly ruptured. Next, it exploded from beginning to end, directly annihilating into the void. Long Fei's gaze turned slightly, looking at the Qin ancestor who was already far away behind them, his lips curled up. "If we push them out, will you be able to run?" Wishful thinking. The sea of clouds surged, changing constantly in the blink of an eye. The sea of clouds surged, changing constantly in the blink of an eye. Long Fei quietly listened. The system was going berserk. Ding! A string of 8 people. Every single elder of the Qin family had given Long Fei less than 60 million experience. Unfortunately, nothing else came out. However, this was still within Long Fei's understanding. The pubes' power was too violent. They couldn't withstand it at all, and were instantly killed. Even their bodies were annihilated. KCHA. Asterisk at the same time, a crisp sound came from the dragon's scale. Another crack appeared. At this moment, the dragon's scale was covered with cracks. There was only a small connection between the cracks and cracks. Looks like I don't have much time left. It's a pity that we won't be able to move the Sky Empire. However, the Qin clan's ancestor must die. Long Fei raised his eyebrows and raised his right hand. Hand of Chaos. Once the ultimate technique was unleashed, the 100% ability to capture the world instantly broke through the primal chaos. At this moment, in the middle of the air, the Qin clan patriarch, who had escaped far away, had a face full of trepidation. His eyes held a trace of lingering fear as he continuously turned his head to look. What a bunch of idiot. How are we supposed to fight back with this kind of strength? How are we supposed to fight back? The old man from the Yangshui gods tribe was killed in an instant, and even the most violent disciple of the Tian family was killed in an instant. How could it be possible for him to take the blow head on? However, don't worry. Your deaths will at least allow me to escape. When this boy dies, I will avenge you. The Qin clan ancestor thought to himself as he continued to increase his speed. But at this moment, a beam of light descended from the skies. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a pair of large hands that came sweeping towards him. No. Impossible. What operation is this? Inch of the world, shrink the earth into an inch, and escape. When the Qin clan ancestor saw the pair of large hands that had suddenly appeared, his expression changed. In a hurry, he once again used an escape technique. In addition, this time he used the most powerful technique. He used Fang Tian's technique to try to escape. However, he was fast, and the pair of large hands were even faster. In front of this large hand, it seemed as if his figure had been locked down. There was no place for him to hide. Boom. Zhong Xian clenched his fist. The Qin clan ancestor didn't even have the strength to struggle. He was immediately enveloped by the endless energy of primal chaos. In an instant, his large hands retracted and he began to rapidly retreat. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The figure of the Qin clan ancestor was heavily left behind. It smashed the last remaining hall of the Qin family into a pair of ruins. The Qin clan patriarch opened his eyes in disbelief. No, how is that possible? I've already left. The Qin clan ancestor stood up in panic, wanting to escape once more. But Long Fei. It was no longer possible to give him such an opportunity. The moment chaotic hand appeared, the Qin family's ancestor was immediately detained. Immediately after, the pubes' power erupted once again. No. Long Fei, you can't kill me. My son has already inherited Emperor Fang Tian's legacy, and is now a popular person by the side of the Celestial Emperor. Now, they are about to arrive. If you touch me, even if you come back to your senses, you won't be saved. The Yi family's elder said in panic. There was even a sense of unwillingness. In the past, he only knew that Long Fei was hard to deal with. Under the explanations of the powerhouses of the great families of the divine space, he knew that the inside of Long Fei's body contained a power that even the Emperor Xian's dreaded. Since that time, he had already thought about Long Fei. But he had never imagined that this power would be so terrifying. It had completely exceeded the limits of this world. In front of a power like Long Fei's, the so-called peak of the super-perfection wouldn't be able to put up a fight. No. It should be said that he didn't even have the qualifications to contend against them. As long as they came into contact, they would be killed in an instant. There was no second possibility. Therefore, he was now thinking of every possible way. What he wanted to do now was to stall for time. As long as the Heavenly Emperor arrived, none of that would be a problem. Long Fei, think about it. There is simply no deep hatred between us. There is absolutely no need to go through life and death. Let me go. Our Qin family will be your backer in the unknown. Our Qin family has the backing of the Heavenly Emperor. So what if we are the Xian nationality? There's no need to put him in your eyes at all. The Qin clan patriarch continued to speak. Show your worth. Only in this way would he have the right to continue living. But it was destined. He was wrong. Be it the Xian nationality, or the Heavenly Emperor, Long Fei would not care. Long Fei became silent, and the corners of his mouth held a cold smile. He was able to see through this trick with a glance. However, he remained calm and collected. Because Long Fei, too, wanted to see just how strong the so-called Heavenly Emperor was. As for the Qin family patriarch, when he saw Long Fei sinking into silence, his eyes revealed joy, thinking that Long Fei had been scared by his words. He secretly heaved a sigh of relief. But at that moment, a wave of killing intent instantly enveloped him. Long Fei had already arrived in front of him with a single step. What you said was very good, but to me, it doesn't have the slightest allure. Right now, your so-called backer should be here soon, right? Ha. Long Fei sneered, and looked at the Qin elder, his eyes unperturbed. And then, boom! Boom. The punch landed heavily on the Qin clan ancestor's head. Boom. Asterisk with just one punch, the head of the Qin clan patriarch exploded. Brain matter flowed all over the ground, and even his primordial spirit could not escape as it was instantly destroyed. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Qin family patriarch. You have obtained 120 million experience, 120,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations player for obtaining sky-high power. It did not go berserk, nor did it drop many useful things. As for the power of the sky, it would be useless to Long Fei, as it could only be used as nourishment for the Sky Spill Emperor system. Ding. The heavenly strength has been devoured. In the Sky Spill system, the power of Fang Tian was directly devoured by the powers of Emperor Fang Tian, becoming even stronger. After doing all of this, Long Fei's gaze relaxed slightly. An unprecedented sense of exhaustion emerged. No, you must insist. I can't fall. There's still the Sky Empire people left. The last time, as long as we kill them, there won't be many people in this unknown region who can affect Yuan Ba and Yu. As Long Fei thought this, he finally felt a little gratified. Little did he know that this scene caused Long Batian, who was hiding within the dragon scale space, to be incomparably shocked. But at the same time, he was also furious. Long Fei was waiting, and he was waiting as well. Brat, stop persevering, the pubes is not strong enough, the contract is about to end. Long Batian said coldly. Long Fei stopped for a moment, as he sensed the energy within his pubes that was already dissipating. Long Batian, if you still want to get anything from me, you better behave. This daddy will go crazy one last time. Long Fei said, and looked over. In the sky, a mass of purple chi was slowly approaching. He's here. Long Fei clenched his fists and rushed into the sky. The void shook violently as an incomparably revered aura descended. The void shook violently as an incomparably revered aura descended. This kind of aura caused even some sort of power within Long Fei's body to resonate. This was the power bestowed by the heavens. Without even thinking, he knew that the person who had come was definitely extraordinary. This was a position bestowed by the heavens. Only in this way would the power of the heavens be able to resonate with it. Long Fei's eyes turned serious as he became cautious. But at the same time, a wild desire rose in his heart. I'm going to kill him. Long Fei's eyes were sinister, surging with madness. Anyway, this was the last time he was going crazy. After that, the pubes' power would be completely used up, and it was unknown where he would go from here. Long Batian was not a merciful person. He had deliberately planned for this long to lay out one plane after another. What he wanted to obtain was, needless to say, of utmost importance to Long Fei. At this time, Long Fei had already guessed it. There was only one thing that could cause Long Batian to think about it for so long, and that was the system. Therefore, this was one of the main reasons why Long Fei wanted to kill the Heavenly Emperor in front of him. Because it was just an aura, Long Fei could already see the light of the boss before it even appeared. The sky was filled with glittering golden lights. Although Tian Luhu was extremely powerful and could be called heaven-defying, the light of the boss only enveloped a single person. But now, the world around them had completely changed. This meant that the boss was very strong, ridiculously strong, indescribably strong and difficult to control. If such a powerful existence were to explode, it was extremely likely that it would explode with something that could change fate. Long Fei had already known that there was someone controlling the system from the beginning as well. Such a person would tolerate Long Batian. Unless the two sides had been in cahoots for a long time, to the point of pooping in a fecal pit, this would never have happened. Thus, at this moment, a hope was born in Long Fei's heart. Then, he would use the system to deal with Long Batian. Of course, Long Fei would not reveal anything, as he was afraid that Long Batian would detect anything abnormal. At this time, the golden light in the sky became stronger and stronger. If he did not use the power of the pubes, even Long Fei would find it hard to resist. Ang! Roar! At the same time, following the appearance of the golden light, waves of dragon roars suddenly sounded out in the sky. It was incomparably violent, and even Long Fei felt the impact. Because Long Fei himself was a dragon, and it was a supreme dragon. Therefore, the moment this dragon roar appeared, Long Fei immediately felt an indescribable feeling of humiliation. High dragon. Dragon chasers. 9 dragons for a rider, for a rider. From this, it could be seen what boundary the once supreme dragon clan had reached. Moreover, these dragons were all of high rank. It could even be said that he was extremely powerful. Every single one of them had the aura of a peak paragon. Catcher, catcher, crack crack crack. Long Fei clenched his fists as the dark golden light in his eyes changed once again. A wave of hostility emerged. At the same time, within the pubes, the power that had ceased to exist started to surge again. More streams of power from planes that had never appeared before descended. Long Fei was startled for a moment, and then immediately revealed a cold smile. This kind of power, needless to say, was related to Long Batian. Kid, kill him. We must kill him. If you want strength, I'll give it to you. Today, I will let you go completely mad and overturn this place. The only thing left was to kill him. Long Batian's voice came from within the dragon's scale, somber and low, filled with killing intent. Even through the dragon's scale, Long Fei could still feel the soaring killing intent. It was as if he wished he could skin the celestial emperor alive. Long Fei was secretly fearful in his heart, and the expression in his eyes slightly fluctuated. Instinctively, Long Fei felt that this must involve a story that was not known to others. Could it be that the Heavenly Emperor has already reached there, and met with Long Batian before? Long Fei thought. Inexplicably, A kind of plot that was extremely dog-blooded surfaced in Long Fei's mind. What moral ruin? What twisted humanity? Everything. It could be called a big show of the year. However, none of this mattered. The most important thing was power. The furious Long Batian allowed his pubes' power to erupt once again. Even the dragon's scale did not continue to shatter. This sort of explosive power will completely shatter the draconic scales. But unfortunately, he was restrained by Long Batian. It can be seen that this heavenly emperor has something to do with Long Batian. In fact, this relationship is enough for Long Batian to temporarily suspend the Dragon Squamous Boundaries contract and also allow the Heavenly Emperor to die. Long Fei thought. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Do it. I have succeeded in making the decision. Push them back, and release them completely. I refuse to believe that I will be defeated on this journey. Long Fei's eyes flashed, he raised his head, and looked towards the Heavenly Emperor's direction. Come, Super Boss. In that moment, Long Fei decided to make his move. He didn't hold back at all. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumbling power surged out, with Long Fei as the center. The sky went berserk. In the sky, the 9 dragons were also in turmoil at this moment. Especially the 9 huge purple dragons, they started to madly jump up and down. Evil creature, how dare you be so impudent? Inside the carriage, the Heavenly Emperor spat out a mouthful of purple gas. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The sound of chains could be heard, followed by streams of ethereal, invisible energy gathering together to form chains that gradually appeared on the bodies of the 9 dragons. These chains directly pierced through their dragon tendons, seal off their dragon claws. The dragon soul that imprisoned them. This was no longer a deterrent, but a form of slavery. *CK your ancestors. This scene, landed in Long Fei's eyes, caused his eyes to crack, and was completely unable to accept it. These scenes were as if they were being applied to him. The pain was unbearable. It was as if a knife were being used, cutting away at his heart. He couldn't tolerate it. Long Fei's eyes changed again. Within the dark gold, blood was flowing. A burst of killing intent spread out from Long Fei's body. You still dare to release killing intent towards me? The Heavenly Emperor's expression changed. He snorted coldly, completely disregarding Long Fei. With a flip of his hand, a strand of divine power swirled around his hand. Originally, this emperor descended. I wanted to see exactly what's special about your power. Looks like he really is disappointed. It's just the power of a pile of trash. But in the end, it's still trash. Waste is never in quantity. A person is a piece of trash, and even if he were to gather millions of them, he would still be a piece of trash. The so-called Long Batian's power is only SOSO. The Heavenly Emperor spoke with assurance and with contempt in his eyes. He completely ignored the power that Long Fei had exploded forth. *CK that trash. Do you think you're so awesome? What Heavenly Emperor? In my eyes, he's nothing at all. Long Fei glared at him, and then punched out. At the same time, an endless amount of ancient energy madly gushed into his fists. He's just acting recklessly. The power of a Heavenly Emperor, suppress. There were different levels of nobility in the world. Power was the basis that determined everything. That identity was also a type of foundation. The imperial power was unparalleled. Could it be that this world was ruled by a king? Could it be that he was his subject? Even in this unknown region of primal chaos, this was the case. And the power of the Heavenly Emperor was the supreme authority. As this aura revealed itself, the entire world became deathly silent. A divine emperor controlled the heavens and the earth. Inexplicably, Long Fei felt his own strength being shackled by an invisible lock. Even the energy that erupted from the pubes stopped for a moment and hid in the air, as if it was being suppressed and weakened by the power of the Heavenly Emperor. He didn't dare to be presumptuous. Ha ha ha, did you see that? This emperor said that no matter how many pieces of trash there are, generally speaking, they are still trash collection facilities. If this is the power of Long Batian's inheritance, then this so-called Long Batian is just a piece of trash. The heavenly emperor was high and mighty. On his crown, the power of a heavenly emperor glistened brightly. It was as if a deity descended from the heavens, and could not be desecrated. Puff! Long Fei spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. He looked at the celestial emperor in the sky with a furious expression. This kind of strength completely suppressed Long Fei to the point where he couldn't resist at all. Impossible, the pubes' power has gathered the power of countless planes. Long Fei was secretly resentful in his heart. He felt a strong sense of helplessness. There was no way to break through. Even the strength of the pubes was not this heavenly emperor's opponent. What else could possibly be able to contend against him? Stop struggling, Long Fei. It must be said that Long Batian's methods are indeed extraordinary, as he gathered the power of countless dimensions to resist it. Unfortunately, you've met this emperor. This emperor has the imperial authority bestowed by the heavens. No matter what plane it is, in front of the imperial power, I am nothing more than trash. I have to bow my head and pay respects to them. If this emperor wants to kill you, a single unofficial decree will cause you to be strangled to death by the divine gift imperial power. As the celestial emperor spoke, he took a step forward. He coldly swept his gaze over the purple-gold dragon that was chasing him away. A small reptile and still dares to struggle? Is this the courage that this trash gave you? The heavenly emperor looked at the colossal dragon in front of him with a face full of pity. Roar! The colossal dragon howled in incomparable pain. An enormous roar resounded throughout the sky, as if the dragon's soul had been forcefully sucked out by someone. Tightly, twice, thrice roar. Roar, 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 pain, and grief. 9 consecutive sounds, and the 9 purple golden dragons were in unbearable agony. The miserable howls they let out had even invaded Long Fei's soul, causing Long Fei to feel incomparable pain. No. Long Fei watched the actions of the heavenly emperor with bloodshot eyes. From the depths of sorrow, it was as if his blood was gouging out his flesh, and he was in so much pain that he was unable to breathe. He was a dragon, and in front of his eyes, these huge dragons started to revolt when they saw him. They woke up from their stupor, wanting to pay their respects to their king. However, Long Fei did not bring them any hope. Instead, it brought them the source of their destruction. Because of him, these huge dragons resisted. Thus, the celestial emperor was able to crush him directly. Something like a dog being pulled out by this emperor is the fortune that you two have accumulated over your lifetimes. You still dare to struggle? Who gave you the courage? Just watch. This emperor will let you all watch. The trash that you all trust cannot do anything before this emperor. As the celestial emperor spoke, he lifted his hand. Immediately after, a gigantic dragon collapsed. Dragon blood filled the skies. Dragon scales began to fall from the sky one after another. It was instantly annihilated, mixing together with the dragon blood and falling down from the sky. Drip, drip. A wave of moist heat appeared on Long Fei's forehead. Ah! Instantly, Long Fei went berserk, his veins popped out. If Long Fei was originally a barrel of gunpowder, then this drop of dragon blood was the fuse. Completely infuriated. Of course, Long Fei was not the only one who was furious. Within the dragon's scale, wave after wave of berserk and wanton auras crazily rushed into Long Fei's pubes. Crack, crack, crack. The dragon's scale began to split apart once again. It was on the verge of collapsing, and it did not have the slightest intention of stopping. Kill him. Long Fei, kill him. Long Batian's voice sounded out once again. This time, I will give you not only the power of the pubes, but also my attack. I can even give you a chance to stop the dragon's scale from shattering. This time, I will not harvest the things in your body. But the only condition is to kill him. Tianquan Empire. Long Batian's voice sounded terrifyingly gloomy. All his willpower could only send out one important point, and that was to defeat the Celestial Emperor in front of him. Your strength. All right. Long Fei agreed without thinking. Because right now, the arrogance of the Heavenly Emperor caused Long Fei to have the thought of fighting to the death. Even if I have to sacrifice myself for him, I have to drag him down. Instantly, Long Fei changed. The moment Long Fei accepted Long Baishan's agreement, he felt that a qualitative change had occurred within the berserk energy within the pubes. If it was said that the ancient powers of the endless territories had combined their power and power, then now, it was time to fuse their powers. The fission-fusion process continued one after another, all the way to the end. The aura suddenly changed. The strength of 6 levels of an ancient supreme elder, the strength of 7 levels, 8th level, until he had surpassed 9 levels. And at this moment, Long Fei's eyes had also turned blood red. In his eyes, there was hatred, slaughter, and madness mixed within. It was incomparably terrifying. Even the expression on the face of the Celestial Emperor changed. An aura that surpasses that of a paragon? How is that possible? Sky Emperor's face darkened, seeing that the chi around Long Fei's body was becoming more and more berserk. The killing intent in his eyes became stronger. HMPH. So what if your aura is berserk? Without the power of a divine body, you are still trash. In this unknown land, the heavens bestowed the highest authority, and the imperial power was paramount. This emperor was born noble. You, trash, still want to overturn the heavens. Suppress. Great Emperor Fis. The celestial emperor's eyes darkened, before his fist descended. Ruum Bell. Under this punch, a torrent of killing intent filled the air. It was incomparably savage. No. Not only was it berserk, it was also a type of restraining a person's fate and controlling the other person's ability to survive contained within it. Ha, if the emperor is angered, the corpse will be buried in millions. An ant dares to overturn the heavens? Go to hell. The heavenly emperor's face was filled with insanity and arrogance. Long Fei's eyes turned red as he looked at the fist that fell from the sky. He was not moved, his expression did not change, and he did not avoid. There was only determination as usual. When an emperor gets angry, blood will flow like rivers. Hihi, I don't want blood to flow like rivers, I'm going to kill you. What Lousy wants is only to splash blood on the ground for 5 step. Hihi, didn't you want to see Long Baishan's power? Then I'll show you. Buried world. Explode for me. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.